Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are
she's all
continually
right.
pale and
They
washed
went
out,
natural.
weak and
She
run
didn't,
down.
she wasn't
Doctors
in
will
any
tell you
pain,
that
so
these
she
conditions
was...
are often caused by a deficiency of iron.
Yeah, one of our listeners, real close. She's over in Scotland, an older lady.
Okay.
The iron you need to keep you physically fit
Yeah, it's
and
cool. We
mentally
have
alert.
Iron Scouts, we call them. They're at every show. So we jumped into a private chat with
Medical
Iron
studies
Scouts,
show
so
that
they
2 out of 3
talk to
women
us whenever they want to, pretty much.
and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires. In a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are the way, we are the way, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
We are the way, we are the way, we are not alone.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset,
We are striving for more.
start taking iron today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Thank God it's Friday.
The iron you need to get what you want.
Well, TGIF, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again here on Have No Sphere, right here on the Iron Rail Media YouTube channel. My name is Josh Corey, and I am so glad it's Friday. Of course, is that new? Seems like every Friday. I'm just thrilled to be here, glad to be able to relax and hang out with you fine people. And with that, let's jump right in and say hello to the fellows. Starting off with...
Savage!
Why the hell not? John Savage, how was your week, sir?
Oh, you caught me unawares. Trying to find my mute button. Yeah, no, pretty good week. Nothing of note really to talk about, other than causing a bit of radio interference chaos around my neighbours, but we won't go into that. Give myself any ammo against me, but yeah, looking forward to tonight. We've got a good guest on finally, and yeah, looking forward to the show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. So let's say hello to my partners in crime over there on the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio every Tuesday and Friday morning from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Central. That is 10 a.m. to noon Greenwich Mean Time. And we shall say hello first to Zachary Zabala. You may know him here on YouTube as Good Times for All. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Josh, Walt, John, guest, everybody out there in YouTube land and wherever else we're going. Yeah, not a bad day. Had just want to give a big shout out to Liz in chat there. Her cat, who's been having a really rough time lately, let go today. No pain, none of that. So I just want to give lots of big hugs and just good vibes to Liz. It rained all day here. Kind of fitting.
Yeah, thoughts with you, Liz.
I've been sleeping most of the day. Got all excited this morning when we had Adam jump on the show there for a little bit, and then, yeah, once that wore off, I was like, but I'm wide awake right now, and I'm ready. This is going to be a fun one. I can already tell. I dig this guest. This should be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Well, that just leaves one Mr. Walter Johnson, who is also known here on the YouTubes as Flat Earth Head. Walt, how are you doing?
I'm good, Josh. I'm glad to hear that We have the guest that I was hoping to wake up and find. I wasn't sure when I went to sleep, so I had a little nap, not much of one. It's been kind of crazy here, energy in the air, and I found out when I got up, we've got 2 hurricanes in the Gulf, or headed to the Gulf. Projections and fun times for Louisiana. So yeah. And love you, Liz. Sorry to hear about the cat for sure. I'm sending lots of love your way, but I know he's not suffering. He, I don't know. I'm sorry, but definitely sending you lots of love. Great show this morning. Great show planned. I'll shut up and we'll get on with this one.
Well, all right then. Well, let's just jump right in and say hello to our guests. This is Doug Henderson, and Doug and I work together. And when you start a new job, it can always be a bit of an awkward situation, being a flat earther. But since I ain't scared of nothing, well, it's not like I'm exactly vocal about it, but I certainly am not vocal about it. But I think I kind of piqued Doug's interest, and I think Doug may have even heard of it before I mentioned it. So he wasn't completely unfamiliar. So let's just say hello to Doug. Doug, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We tried to get you on here a couple weeks, and it's just hasn't worked out. So we're so glad you could come hang out with us tonight.
Appreciate it, Josh. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about the show. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say and chime in.
Well, awesome. And really, I think we were super excited to get a chance to talk to somebody who is kind of new to this whole flat Earth idea, because we've been at this for years. So
right.
The idea to have somebody come in here with actual questions about it because they're unfamiliar was really exciting. So I don't know. I get to talk to you. I just talked to you a few hours ago. Let's see if any other fellas might have any questions for you.
Okay.
Nope.
I do.
I'm hearing a bit of reverb though. Are you hearing that, Josh?
I am a little bit. Are you on speakerphone by chance, Doug?
Yes. Should I hook up a mic?
You don't necessarily have to. Maybe just push the down volume button a couple times.
Okay.
I think
how about that? Is that better?
I think that is better. Yeah, I think your mic was just picking up your speakerphone.
Gotcha.
Exactly. You jump in, mate.
Yeah. What did Josh say to you? What was like the first thing? Because I used to scream it from the mountaintops, and then I quit doing that. But I would, just kind of leave little breadcrumbs for people.
To answer your question, he didn't really say anything to me about the flat Earth. I think we started the conversation off by speaking about podcasts, and he told me, "Oh, great, you're into podcasts." He was like, "You should listen to my podcast and check it out and see what you think, and let me know." And I listened to the podcast, and I was just like blown away, like piqued my interest, and so I was hooked on it, and we had a conversation about it after I listened to the podcast, and that conversation almost was about an hour long. We probably almost got fired in that conversation, and that sort of led to the flat Earth thing, and so many different things that we kind of spiraled from that one conversation, that just piqued my interest. And he would send me little articles and different things of that nature, and it just went from there. And I would see different things on TV or internet browsing and bring it to him, and we would just go back and forth and kind of just, trade notes and different things that we knew about flat Earth and just different things altogether, like the cults and all type of things of that nature.
Well, you must have already had a foot in the path or on the path of some enlightenment to even be able to open yourself enough to look at the topic without it being the typical knee-jerk reaction that we've all seen and received with this topic. What, like, growing up, were you with a family that had awareness, or is it something you picked up just through media? Is it something that was just in you? It's like, I got to find these things out. What was your path to knowledge, if you will?
So yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. So I grew up in a strict religious household, so strictly Christian and believing everything that you were preached to and told. And one day I said, hey, let me read the Bible for myself and find out what's really going on, because a lot of things that was being preached to me and talked to me over the pulpit was dogmatic. And so that's what started it for me. And I want to say this started probably around 10 years ago. So that's what got me interested in like really seeking information out for myself. And then from there, just went on to just searching things out on YouTube and the internet. And like I say, I think me and Josh did hint on it and talk about this one guy getting approached. He had like a NASA jacket on. He was in like some fast food place, and people approached him with some facts and told him, prove to us or denounce that the Earth is flat, and he wouldn't open his mouth and wouldn't say it. So, we kind of laughed about it because I'm like, if this is finite and if this is true that we're living on this globe, why can't you speak to it? Why can't you give, finite information on this is truth, and I can prove it to you and point you to a website, a book, something to disprove, the flat Earth theory.
It should be easy, shouldn't it, Doug?
Really? Yeah, to me, it should be really easy.
Especially in 2020 now with the tech and everything we've got and what they're telling us they're doing. But how long has it been since you sort of typed flat Earth into a search bar and fell down the rabbit hole? How is it? Weeks, months? Is it?
It's probably months. Like I don't really check on it and go into it in depth like that. Like I'm checking on it every day or seeking that out. But I know that Josh does, and he kind of brings it up and talks to me about it, and it piques my interest. And like I said, if he sends me an article or something like that, I definitely will read it and take that knowledge and assess it for myself. I'm just the type of person now in life. I'm not going to take something for face value. Like you have to prove it to me, show me that it is what it is. Because like I say,
true Missourian.
Yeah. But I just feel like we've grown up under this smoke and mirrors type of society where they're feeding us what they want us to know, and most people are just taking that, running with it, and not seeking out truth. And for me, I'm not opposed to anything that somebody brings to the table if it has truth or merit behind it, and I won't just shut it down like the flat. I mean, it sounds crazy to a certain type of person, the flat Earth theory, but is it really that far off if we can't prove that we don't live on this, planet, that the so-called globe that they say we live on?
Well, I think that's the essence of flat Earth. It's not that we go around preaching the Earth is flat. It's that we investigate the claims that are made by the people who are making the claims and disprove them, basically. So we sort of know what we're not on, but we wouldn't be arrogant enough to claim that we know what we are on, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes.
You mentioned the NASA jacket, Doug. Was that something? Well, you sound like you're a little younger than I am. I guess that age bracket difference. I mean, in my era, it was NASA go, we're going to conquer space, astronauts are the new heroes kind of thing. But I'm an old dude. In your era, in your generation, were you aware of NASA's stuff? Was it something you just kind of didn't pay attention to, or were you aware of the fakery early on?
I'm 39, so I'm in that age bracket to where I remember watching the Columbia on TV, like watching, the space shuttle launches from, JFK down in Florida, and it being a big deal, us taking time out of school and watching it on TV. And
right.
And like, I'm like you, it was go NASA go and conquering the world. And they was like these super smart, it doesn't take this much to be a rocket scientist, take a rocket scientist, all those little sayings that we grew up on, just like, you just thought a rocket scientist was like the smartest thing on earth. And like I say, as we get older and you start to see the chinks in the armor when it comes to NASA, and like I say, social media has really blown their whole theory out of the water. Now that we're all connected and we could kind of disprove a lot of stuff that they've been feeding us. Just like I say, I grew up religious. In the scientific world, a lot of stuff that they've just been telling us is true has been proven to not be true. Like, I was blown away by the fact that the photos of the Earth were computer generated. And somebody said, look it up. You cannot find an actual photo of the Earth that's not. I think Josh told me this, and I was like, no, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not saying he's wrong. And then I look it up, and I'm like, it blew my socks off.
Yeah, that was one of my early stones too that hit the bottom of the well. It was like, I know I've seen hundreds of pictures of the Earth. I'm a NASA fanboy, and I'd go look for them and like, oh shit, okay, something's not right here. And then right after that, they put out that lovely little photo bomb of the moon, going by the Earth, and it was so dark and fake and like, what the fuck is going on? That one helped to break my brain into that, right? Yeah, for sure. The fakery started being so easy to see.
And of course, now we know that rocket scientists are not the most brainy people on the planet. It is
it's rocket surgeons, right?
It's audio engineers, actually. They are way more intelligent than any rocket scientist.
So I think if you're a computer animator or, like I say, sound engineer, then that's pretty much where we're getting at when it comes to the rocket scientists that we looked up to and just thought that was, held such high esteem in our minds growing up. So it's very interesting, like you say, once that was disproven about the Earth photos, it kind of makes you look at the whole NASA setup as, okay, what are you not telling us? What is the truth and what is not the truth? So I think that's where you guys are coming from. It's like, we're not saying it's one way or the other, but we're truth seekers this is the information that we have that you have given us, and we're going to try to prove it or disprove it.
So, Doug, did you listen to Josh's interview last Sunday?
I did not get a chance to listen to it.
Oh, it's a big one.
Treat.
It's 3.5 hours long. You can't really expect a whole lot of people to sit through that shit.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, sir.
That would be a good one to share with people who have never heard of the flat Earth. It is a great stepping stone right there, Josh.
And in a lot of things, actually. I mean, I don't think it's more. I think it's more. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I may be wrong in my thinking of it because I know Josh so well. But to me, it's like with my significant other sitting there, she's very reluctant to watch YouTube videos because they're boring and dry, and Josh makes it real and personable and human, and it hits you in a place that isn't necessarily all technical, it's more heart oriented, and it resonates. And she kept saying, well, I never thought of it that way. So a lot of topics, not just the Earth, but like the mask thing and the people waking up thing and lots of stuff. Lots of stuff.
So any conversation that we've ever had has never been like, let me beat you over the head with this flat Earth theory, the cult theory, whether it be pedophilia, just these different things that's going on. It's like, hey, check it out or see for yourself. It's never, overbearing. It's coming from a way that as if he's acting as I'm you and I sought this out and I found out this information and I believe that it would help you along the line. Like the questions that you have that you're asking me, I guarantee if you look at these articles or this information that I have that we'll be on the same page once you get done. And 9 times out of 10, after I read the article, so I'll come back to him the next day and be like, man, wow. And we'll laugh about it, have these long conversations, great conversations about it. And like we start going down that rabbit hole. We could start off on flat Earth and we can end up talking about gnomes and giants and whatever else, piques my interest at the time that he has a broad, vast knowledge and information on. Because like I say, he's a true truth seeker. So I appreciate that. And like I say, I mean, he really struck a chord with me and we, been kind of close in that area at work. We don't get the chance to talk all the time now because we're not in the same cell. But I mean, whenever he does stop by, we have really good conversation.
That we do.
Yeah, and we appreciate it.
Did you say the same cell?
Yeah, I caught that too, Zach.
I love that.
I knew as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go. Yeah. So think of like a big warehouse and almost like cubicles, but there's divvied up by like workbenches and shelving units and big carts. But then each little area is building its own instrument. Well, each little area is just called a cell. So it's not like we work in the prison.
Okay.
Or
no, I was thinking you were like prison cell.
No, that's your home, Zach. That's where you're living now, as we're all locked up. Doug, have you looked into any of the?
See, I was thinking more Sam Fisher.
No, shit. I don't even know who that is.
Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell.
Yeah, Splinter Cell.
No, you've lost me. Oh, you're talking gaming. or some
Video
crap,
game,
aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah, Tom Clancy
Military,
stuff.
Tom Clancy, right.
Gotcha. Yeah, have you looked into any of the research that was done on flat Earth over 100 years ago, sort of thing? Has Josh given you any books to read?
He probably have, but I haven't researched it yet as far as the flat Earth 100 years ago. But he's mentioned like so much stuff as far as flat Earth 100 years ago, like even the Bible. Like, so we got into that, and he sent me a whole list of scriptures with all of it being listed out. And it just, like I said, reading them. And we got to talking about, because I recently started reading the book of Enoch.
Oh, yeah.
And was talking about like how that was divided out, and how they were saying that the sun rested here, and the winds coming from the four corners of the earth. Like, this is very specific. So if we're talking about God being all knowing, and this is something I believe in, and pretty much the majority of America and, the world, a lot of people believe in it. If the Bible is saying four corners of the earth and not, why would it say that if that's not something specific and like real, instead of saying like a sphere or some type of globe? Like, why is it not saying from the bottom or, the other side or whatever? Like I feel like verbiage is everything.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
So
I think you'd really enjoy a guy called Rob Skeeber's videos, who basically goes through the Bible, making notes as to what it's described as, and then he designed a model in CAD or something. I don't know what it was, but just putting all the descriptions together into a model. But from the Bible perspective, it's definitely Rob Skeeber is a definite heavyweight on that front. But yeah, it's interesting stuff, isn't it? And I wouldn't suggest you approach your family with the Bible stuff just yet.
No, they're what's funny is my parents are now they're in theology school, so their thoughts and views, the way that they used to be, me growing up versus what it is now, because they're so their minds are so expanded. We can have very in-depth conversations without it being very, like this is heresy if I bring up something like flat Earth. Like, I spoke to my dad even earlier today. I told him I was going to do the podcast on flat Earth, and he kind of rolled his eyes, but he listened to what I had to say, and
Wow.
he was, I told him my perspective on it. I'm saying, basically what we're saying, and how you said, we're not trying to prove or disprove, but excuse me, what we are trying to say is show me where it is not true. And you can't do that. So I said from that aspect, yes, I'm going on the show, and I want to speak my piece and my truth about it. And I think it's very interesting,
So what was the first kind of?
Go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just going to ask Doug what the first kind of big anti-establishment question that you had. One of those the first big question that went against the mainstream narrative that you'd been told your entire life.
I.e., when were you first arrested?
You talking about religiously or just in general?
Just in general. What was that first thing that made you that started maybe the avalanche of questioning everything, that you said, you know what, maybe all of this just isn't what I was told?
The whole moon landing thing, that like really ticked me off, because here we are 2020, and you mean to tell me we can't go back to the moon, or the technology that we used to go to the moon, that's lost? But with the computer power that we have now, processing speed, all these things, we can make stuff stronger, lighter, fuel ratios. All this different type of technology. And you mean to tell me you can't come anywhere close to going back to the moon? Or like the space station, to me, is a joke. Like, why are we building a space station on a satellite when we have a solid so-called planet or moon that we can go to and build a real solid station there and launch and explore from there? Like, to me, it logically doesn't make sense. So that's when I really started to question things. Like, if we really landed on the moon, surely we can go back now. I mean, right? I mean, just logically thinking about it.
One would think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I just started questioning things. Like, this doesn't add up or make sense to me. And the only thing we can show is space shuttle launches, and it's timed. As soon as it gets to the atmosphere, all feeds cut out. We can't have a camera from the actual shuttle shooting from getting past the atmosphere to space and beyond. Like, where does all this footage go? Even from the space station, why do we have cameras there shooting back? And why don't we have another thing I thought about? Why don't we have satellites and everything orbiting the Earth on the going around horizontally, I guess you would say, right? And not going over and under. That's weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't we have the North Pole, South Pole orbit going? Why can't we do that? With all the technology, we can send a probe to Saturn. Why can't we send something in orbit to go around the Earth the other way and take live footage of it and show us the actual sphere? That way we can, like you say, you can disprove everything we're saying right now.
Yeah, not even
So many
space.
questions like
Why
that.
don't we fly over Antarctica with an airplane?
So that.
And,
so many
and all the
unknowns.
promises that we all had with the NASA lies, we're going to have lunch on the moon. We'll be hobnobbing in orbit. It'll be just like going to New York from Chicago or whatever. And all the promises of the future, crap that we were programmed with. And as you say, here it is, 2020, and none of it came to fruition. And also, you mentioned earlier that whole thing as you were able to talk to your dad about this, which is interesting. I also grew up in a super religious home. My mom my grandfather was a Baptist preacher. My uncles, mom, we're all in the church. So as I began to become a science freak, I mean, it just didn't jive with what I had read and was taught. And I would ask them, those are metaphors. Those are allegories. Well, I thought that was the word. I thought that was the, that whole dichotomy broke that apart for me as well. So it's interesting that you can actually have those discussions and it not create a big family rift. I like to hear that, man.
Yeah, because like you say, if this is supposed to be a word, this is something we believe in, then how can we take certain scriptures or certain words from it and say, this is finite, this is truth? When we talk about the science of it, oh, that's a metaphor, all that is this and all that. No, it needs to be able to be taken literal and matter of fact, as if, yes, some certain things are parables and there's different layers to it, but certain things flat out rain or dew or, light of the earth and the pillars and the four corners, that's
waters above literal, and all of
that's
waters,
that's not a metaphor.
There's space out there. What?
Right. So, Yep.
How often would you say you guys do you have these kind of discussions often, or is it just when a new topic kind of piques your interest? Or, I mean, I'm interested because with my mom, I mean, she's kind of the one who kind of made this quest for knowledge grow in me. She was always like that growing up. So as my brother and sister have just let their minds become warped by media and lost all of that, it just, it's astounding to me to see that has happened when it could have kept going like what you have there with your family, being able to discuss these things and then at least listen to it and not just, oh, that's the crazy flat earther talking.
Right. So yeah, with me and my family, just the dynamic that I'm around, I mean, it could be something as simple as something I saw on the news or read or came across. And our family is like, I like our dynamic because we have a very, how could I say, we go back and forth. It's never just a, well, it used to be that way. I say, you listen and go by what I say. And, like you said, being in the church and very dogmatic. I mean, the preacher says it's this way and he used these scriptures is that way. I think my parents, the church that we're going to, finding out that the pastor wasn't as truthful as he was preaching, like I said, a lot of the dogmatic things, you start to seek the truth out for yourself. And I think for them, they came into a fork in the road. So that's what drove my parents to theology school. And, you know, like I say, we have so many books, library. We have pretty much a library at our house now about all different type of topics.
I would like to hear, I'm sorry. I would like to hear their take on the whole idea of the Apocrypha,
so I got into that too. So recently I got into the Apocrypha and, like I say, the Book of Enoch, and that, you know, sparked up a whole nother conversation with my parents. And like I say, they're so far more advanced than I am when it comes to them things. So I'm getting caught up, just like I'm trying to get caught up to Josh and everybody else. I'm fairly new to everything. So it's really kind of like blowing my socks off, you know, reading and like, why would they take these books out? Why would they exclude them?
Right.
And at the end of the day, for me, it's about control. You know, so like I say, I feel like the church as we know it today took these books away because they couldn't control people with it being the way that it was before they canonized the Bible. So
before King James put his spin on it all.
Yeah, correct. So a lot of the stories and stuff wouldn't add up with what they're doing with the dogmatic views on how they're preaching and teaching in the church. So, which is very sad because, like I say, it's so much more information that kind of completes the Bible with these lost books. It makes it a whole big picture, and we're missing a big chunk of the picture because we don't have these books included. And like I said, if your mind's not open and willing to learn and see these things and seek out truth for yourself, you're not going to be able to really read these books and take it and apply the knowledge and get a complete picture. You're going to be, some people are only stuck on the 66 books of the Bible. That's it. That's all they want to know. They want to die believing that, and that's okay. But for a person like me, a truth seeker, I can't just, I can't do it. I have to find truth out for myself.
There's enough flat Earth in the first 66 that keep you going for a whole lifetime, I imagine. But
yeah, but it's a lot of stuff missing too.
Oh yeah,
in just those 66. Like even in the Book of Enoch, like it mentions the archangels and their different titles and things that they're over. Like, Ariel is not mentioned in the 66 books of the Bible. The other archangels outside of the two main archangels are not mentioned at all. And I think they only mention Michael by name. Have you
had a look at the book of Adam?
I was going to ask him that too, John.
No, I haven't. I haven't read that yet. That's my next book. I'm in the Book of Enoch now. I'm halfway through it. Once I finish that, I want to read the book of Adam. And yes, Josh told me about that too. He was like, check that out. It'll totally change your mind on a lot of things. So I'm excited to read that. Like I said, I'm trying to catch up to you guys. I know you have a lot of questions for me, but I can only speak off of the knowledge that I know now that I'm.
Oh, that's great, man. We're just excited. We hear your excitement, and we've been at this a while. So to get that energy and that excitement again, we're just going to be all pumped up and throwing shit at you. So just hold on. Yeah. We'll try not to overwhelm you with it.
Yeah, so I'm very excited, and like I said, I'm here to learn. I'm like a sponge, take it all in. And
do you know anyone else who's have you got any other friends that are into this or?
I don't know if anybody's like, the circles that I run in as far as like church and stuff. Yeah, I don't have too many people that is the mind is that open that, have detrained their mind to believe, different than what you were taught and brought up in. So,
or at least they're not vocal about it anyway. They may be, half the congregation could be flat earthers, but no one says anything to anyone else. Just in case.
You don't want to be looked at crazy and, like, you believe something that's, make you a heretic or something. But, to me, I don't care about any of that. People are going to judge you anyway. And like I say, I lived my whole life in church and in a religion background and a religious background, should I say. And once I got away from religion, I was free, So even though I'm still around it, I'm not bound by those rules and those so-called dogmatic views that they projected onto us growing up.
That's all you can ask for, isn't it? Is to look at evidence and assess it honestly. It's not craziness.
It's liberating when you free
Yeah.
your mind and you seek the knowledge out for yourself. And once you read it for yourself, I mean, when you read it for yourself and nobody else can disprove it because you read it and it's like I say, it's in your mind and you can show people, hey, instead of just being told something, no, this is where it is, and so prove to me that I'm wrong.
So that moves on to the next sort of phase of awakening, or whatever you want to call it. Is have you arranged or thought about doing any experiments yourself?
As far as
testing the how far you can see, or any of the other myriad of experiments out there that clever people come up with.
So I haven't tried like any experiments myself per se, but I have looked at different like YouTube videos and different videos on as far as like I seen this one video. This guy did a shadow casting video where he had like a flat board and he shined a light on it and it had like a little man figure on it, and he was trying to disprove the flat earth theory by showing when he bent the paper and it had like a sphere to it, how the shadow cast over it versus when it was flat, and then try to disprove the whole flat earth theory by that, with time and the sun when it goes over the top, like it's going over a sphere, that basically it makes the shadow move in a way that is showing that we're on a sphere instead of just a flat plane.
And how did he get on with that?
But I mean, it makes sense, but like I said, at the end of the day, you cannot disprove the other theory of it being flat Earth.
You also have to presuppose a sphere for that to work out mathematically as well.
But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that the Earth is not on a curve or it doesn't have curvature to it to cast a shadow on for us to tell time. I'm not trying to say that at all, but what you're not disproving the other side of it to say that this thing isn't a full sphere.
Well, if you manage to get the experimental sun to cast a sunbeam, to the feet of the whatever he had, a Lego character or something on there. I don't know the video.
Yeah, a little cardboard cutout, and he had like a flat board, maybe like an 11 by 14 piece of like construction paper, and he had like a little cardboard cutout man of it, and he took like a light, and brought it over the top like how you would like if it was on a sphere, and show like shadow moving, and then he did that versus like a tall building and show how the shadow moved, and vice versa, and was just showing how if we're on a sphere, like the shadow moves a certain way. And I'm like, I mean, okay, I know that, we have science to prove that, but you're not showing me the science behind us being on this flat plane per se versus a sphere. So show me that, and then we can talk. Like I say, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And that video to me was like a smoke and mirror video and things that because you have gravity that plays in, all these things that play into this scenario that you're not saying. So make it make sense to where you disprove the flat earth theory, and then we can all, go to bed peacefully.
You get a ring of truth from these videos as well, don't you? That if you watch a Jeranism video or something, or Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole or something, they're covering all these angles, whereas these so-called flat earth debunk videos they're very selective about what they choose to show you and how they do it, as opposed to something like, I would suggest you have a look at Zach's entire portfolio of practical experiments.
Absolutely. There's a man that can show you practical hands-on work. That's the guy's video. Good
Well, he
times
can
for all.
show you the sun setting on a flat plane. He can show you the sun setting, or Phuket Word as well. The people that do empirical experiments on flat
Rob
surfaces.
Durham, another great one.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll send you some links. Don't worry, we'll hook you up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. I need
Are
all
they
the
still?
links, man,
I'm so far behind there. There's so many thousands of hours of great content being produced. Are they still working their way through the list? Jaron and Bob and them with the list, the flat Earth. You know,
I think they finished them now.
They finished it. Okay, I can't remember what the list is actually called. It's all the debunk crap that they're showing how easily the debunks are debunked.
The trouble these days, Doug, is finding the information. It used to be, you know, back in 2015, 2016, you were being bombarded by fantastic flat Earth videos every single day. You couldn't literally watch them all in order to keep up.
Right.
And now, I mean, like I had a document where I would store these fantastic videos so that I could go back to them. And if I go back to that document now, which is some 500 pages long, I guarantee 90% of those links aren't there anymore. And it's hard to find information. So I think websites like, is it Stop, Look, Think? Is that it, guys?
I think that's right. I think.
Where they collated these sort of things is a great place to start, because YouTube is absolutely useless now. You could search.
Yeah, it's a controlled narrative now. Yeah. So, yeah. But it goes back to what me and Josh had a conversation about the other day at work, where you're so matter of fact about a book that you read when you were young, or a different saying or a scripture that was a certain way, and you go back and look at it now and it's totally different. Like the Bernstein Bears.
Yep.
And I'm like, he showed me. I swear, man. I almost listen for the rest of the day. I could not focus. I couldn't do another instrument. I was at my desk and I just kept looking back at Josh, and he's cracking up because my mind is blown. I'm like, he said, "Question for you, Doug." And I'm coming off break, and I'm like, "Shoot, Josh, sure, tell me." He said, "Growing up, you remember the Bernstein Bears?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Now, what do you call them? Bernstein." So the Bernstein Bears. He said, "That's not the same. That's not how it's spelled." I'm saying, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Look it up." And I said, "I don't need to look it up because I grew up reading the books just like you, and that's what we called it. I mean, generations before me, my parents, my cousins, my grandparents. I mean, everybody who had these books, that's the name of them. But you go look at it now, it's a total different spelling."
Josh has a habit of
I don't have an answer for
brains.
What color is chartreuse, Doug? What color is chartreuse?
What color is what?
Do you know the color chartreuse? Is that a color you've ever heard of?
No.
Oh, well, then never mind. It's one that's also one of those that if you have it one way and you hear it the other, it breaks your brain. You're like, no, it's not that color. It's this color.
What color is it?
So, I don't know, John. What color is it?
I don't know. Colors aren't my thing, especially when they put names like
I painted
chartreuse
when
on it.
there was a song.
Chartreuse was like a red.
There you go. When there was a song in the 70s called Convoy, and in it there was mention of a chartreuse microbus, and I was one of those avid readers that had to know what every fucking thing meant, so I went and looked up chartreuse. And chartreuse was a maroon purplish color. It's not anymore. Now it's like a baby shit green color, apparently. And I'm like, that's not freaking chartreuse.
Yeah, see, that's scary to me, that information and data can change like that, and we know it to be a certain way, and it's totally different now.
So here's one for you. Maybe I talked about this one with you at work, but the Lion and the Lamb, is that a Bible verse you're familiar with? If you get a chance, go back and see if you can't find that Bible verse again and see if it still talks about the lion and the lamb. No, you can't, can you?
No, you cannot. We talked about this, and that blew my, because I remembered it. We both quoted it, and we looked at each other, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not there.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a wolf and a lamb. I've checked several Bibles. There's a whole list of these different Bible changes.
There's a bunch of them, but that's the one that broke me as well, because I've always associated with wolves just overly, like, that's my thing, is wolves. And so for me not to know that in the Bible growing up, that I knew the Bible as well as I did and loved wolves like I did, there's no way I wouldn't have been like knowing that that's the fucking verse. And it's just, it's been changed, no doubt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How many paintings have you seen with a little lamb laying between the feet of the lion, and the lion's the big protector, not eating it, but there to protect the little lamb?
How many pubs are called the Lion and the Lamb there over there, John? John?
I wouldn't know anything about pubs over here, mate. I know the most common pub name over here is the Red Lion, but that's about it.
Ooh, yeah. Arwen in chat has another good one, that there's no wineskins mentioned in the Bible anymore. All the wineskin references have been changed to wine bottles, as if they were blowing glass and making these big glass bottles, mass-producing glass bottles for wine.
See,
and preachers even have like corrected it while they're giving their sermons. They'll read wine jar or whatever it is, but they'll say, "Oh wait, oh, no, it's wineskin."
So my thing is, have these Bibles been somehow taken away that we read back in the day, or?
No, some of these Bibles are like family Bibles that have been in people's families
written
for generations.
in thousands of pictures and other things.
And they're changed. The
And,
words are changed in those Bibles as well.
Those as well. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Does that not fuck you up?
Yeah, it messes me up every time because, like I said, even with the Bernstein Bears, outside of the Bible, just different information and different, like, okay, for instance, like we were talking about hometowns, like a backyard or something that you know very well, that you can close your eyes and you can draw it. I mean, you can see it so vividly. And to go back now and it's smaller, it's different, something's out of place. It's just not the same. It's just like, that's weird to me. Mm-hmm. That a physical location is totally different than what it used to be.
Like majorly different. See, that was one that kind of was one of those, because where I grew up in the little place, there was a hill right in the front of where we lived. And it was big, and we'd roll down it and run and dive on cardboard and slide down it really far. And when I'd go back and visit that, like, 20, 40 years, like 20 or 30 years later, it's a flat area. I mean, it's flat. It's not even an implication of a hill there. And I'm like,
wow.
What?
Yeah. Things that make you go,
Yeah. We got a friend in chat, Martin, who just says, the Mona Lisa is now a blonde.
Man, don't say that.
Yeah, I know. I got a kick out of that. If I see a blonde Mona Lisa, I'm done. I'm just walking out into the woods.
Yeah, I'm
done with all this. But yeah, we have a buddy, Brian Stavely. That's like his. If you just type in Brian Stavely, you'll find his channels and stuff here on YouTube.
Okay.
He has done 5-hour shows on this, on the Mandela effect, where he just lays them like one after another. Yeah, and man, that guy is so. There's a lot of people that are well versed, but he was my go-to, my first one I saw. And at first I was like, no. This one took me a while. I fought this. This wasn't like Flat Earth where I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. I was like, oh, it's the government messing. It's, the secret societies playing tricks on us and this and that. But eventually you come to a point where it's like, dude, this is not people doing this. This is supernatural, whatever's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, he had me on the Bernstein Bears because I remember that vividly. And I'm like, no, I used to read those books and it's totally different now. So, yeah.
And that's the one that sticks with me too. There are people out there that don't think any of it's real, that the Mandela effect is a complete hoax, and that it's all just bad memories and things like that. And I got to tell you, that might be true for some of them. But what I cannot discount is the very fact I remember reading Berenstain Bears. That never in my entire life have I seen a Berenstain Bear book. Never seen it, except since I started looking into the Mandela effect. My entire life. I asked my mother, how do you pronounce it? Steen? How do you pronounce this word?
Yeah, exactly.
And see, mine was instantly Berenstain. And then, old as I am, in the early 70s, it was the Berensteins with an apostrophe because it was telling us it was the author's bears. I didn't know that, but I knew that was possessive. So how could the bears possess themselves? That didn't make sense. But then they changed it to just the Berenstein bears. And I read Frankenstein, and so it was Berenstein. For me, I would never have thought Berenstein was Berenstain. Or Berenstain was Berenstein. So that's one of those brain breakers for me.
Yeah. So at that point, he had me on the Mandela effect. And I said, you know what? I'm a believer, So make it not make sense to me, and then I'll take another path. But when you show me something that clear as day, like something I have a vivid memory of, and it's totally opposite now, my mind's blown. You look at certain buildings and certain trees and stuff like that, they're not as tall as they used to be before. And of course, yes, you grow up and you get taller, but in retrospect to like say to scale, this tree was like maybe 20 more feet taller than my house. And now that I'm looking at it 10 years later, it's only like 5 feet taller than the house. Like, how can you explain it? Nobody chopped it down, or, the earth's not sinking, or, nothing's moving. So explain it, so that type of thing.
I had the same thing at
reality is just malleable. It's just we create it so much that if enough shit changes, it changes. That's really where I'm at this point.
Gotcha.
What were you gonna say, Zach?
Oh, I had the same thing driving by my old house that I grew up in, and I lived there till I was like 20, 21.
Right.
And the hill, just like you, Walt, the hill leading up to my my little subdivision there, it was gone. It was all flat now.
All right, not even an implication. Just
that's weird, man. That's
not eroded away. It's just not there anymore. Sorry.
Looks like we've been joined.
Have we?
Hey!
We have.
There.
What's going on, Rob?
Good morning, everyone.
Happy Saturday,
from
Rob.
Australia.
This is our time-traveling friend. He has been here with the crew literally since before it was Iron Realm Media. Rob was one of the original OG founders, and he's been kind of out and about, trekking across the plane himself. So he's back in and out, but we're glad to have you back, Rob. What's up, my friend?
No problem. I've been listening to what you've been talking about, and I heard. G'day, Doug. How you going?
How you doing, Rob? Good to meet you.
Doug was my father's name, so good name.
Yes, sir.
I heard you talking about you hadn't done any experiments yourself yet, and for me, until you do that, yeah, it's all sort of you're watching YouTube videos, but until you do it yourself and you work it all out yourself and you go and prove it to yourself, then that's when you'll truly believe.
Yeah, you'll have a Berenstein bear effect.
A moment, right? That falling away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit.
Well, that's when you
I
don't
agree with
need
you.
to believe anymore. That's when you know, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah.
I agree with you because
there'll be a few times where people throw you curveballs, like there was a couple of ones there. Then I'm going, well, no, but then there are other reasons why we see the things we do, and you just gotta, until you do those experiments, you won't truly believe in my opinion.
gotcha.
I just bought a camera. I just bought a camera. What'd you do? You had the gyroscope out there, John, and you did heaps of videos on the gyroscope. And
I did the gyroscope. I did star trails. I did seeing Portland from 30 plus miles away, which was only 500 feet
If
tall.
you can see Portland from England, that rocks.
I don't think Josh has actually done anything. He's a bit of a he's done nothing. He's a bit of a bloody
I'm a poser. I don't.
nothing
just
person.
talks.
Is
He
he?
don't do shit.
Nothing person.
He's just
Full of
out there
shit.
breaking people's brains every other day open, and that's all he does. He doesn't do shit.
But I mean, just from a literal sense of it all, it doesn't take a lot to see. And like I say, scientifically and like seeing these different videos, and like you say, it's a little bit of truth in everything, but literally like reading these things and seeing these things for yourself, and people make it plain as day where you can visualize that, and you know something to be true, and it's totally different from that. Like, I mean, it's not too many experiments you need to take from, but like, I get what you're saying. That makes it finite in your mind that I did this experiment and it totally was different.
Right. That was part of our whole path. I think all of us, I went out to the beach and did videos of the sun going away and seeing 30, 40 miles off. And so I think we all had that Missouri mindset. Damn it, I will see this. Show me.
Right.
Some people can be so indoctrinated, but even if you show them what's happening, they still won't see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. I took my family out to the beach and showed them the math and everything. Hey, there's Chicago skyline. We're 40 miles away. You should not see really any of those buildings with your eye. Maybe the tippy top of two of them, if you throw in how the eyes work and all that kind of stuff. And it just went right over their heads.
Right.
They just, like, they stuck their head in the sand and just didn't want to talk about it anymore. And that's how they dealt with it.
I could appreciate that, though.
I can't do that.
Yeah, you're saying that, Zach, and that really rings true. As someone who spent time as their youth as a cutter and a burner and a self-mutilator, when your brain just doesn't have any way to cope with it, when you don't have the way to verbalize it, even the thought process to connect dots, you got to figure something else out. And if it's not, when it's so foreign like that, yeah, I can see how a lot of people just completely shut down and it's just like nothing.
Yeah, I agree. When you don't have a mind that could seek truth or seek anything past what you've heard or what you experienced your whole life, like, you don't want to experience life outside this bubble. It can be, because what is true anymore after that? It can send some people into a manic state. They're just in the spiral and they can't get out of it. Because I have a friend of mine back in Detroit where I grew up at. He said his dreams are so vivid that he has to smoke weed and do this different type of stuff to differentiate between reality and what's a dream. And this is somebody I've known since I was 3 years old. And for him to look me in my eye and really like mean it and say it, it kind of made me look at him, now I don't see, I don't think he's crazy, so it's, imagine taking him outside of that, where he didn't have that distinction between a reality and a dream. And I go run in front of a car and, you're in reality and then it's over. So I think it's the same kind of concept when it comes to trying to show somebody the truth about, taking them to the beach and then you could see 100 miles away, still see a boat out there floating by when we're supposed to be on a sphere. They don't want to believe that we're on a flat earth, or they even want to give you any type of grounds on what we believe as far as the flat earth theory might be. It could be, and it doesn't even have to be flat earth. It could be anything that we're trying to prove here, like the Mandela effect or any other thing.
It's not so much the information you're being shown by the flat earther or by whoever. It's the implications of being able to entertain that idea.
Right.
People have a problem with, because the implications are far more reaching than the actual shape of the earth and whether we live on a spinning ball. Because if you can show to yourself or at least entertain the idea that you're seeing something that conflicts with that, then what does that mean for everything else? Has you been lied to about everything? Now your government lied to you, your teachers are lied to you. It's the implications that I think scare people.
Yeah, it's sort of like that's why I like the Matrix so much, because it's like, with your whole life you've been living a lie, and then somebody woke you up to the truth of the matter, like this is some parallel. If your mind has really been awoken or awake to what's really going on, some people, like you say, take the red pill or blue pill and come back to this reality. Like, once you're shown the truth, some people, you can't turn that off. So if you're going to live in the truth, right? So do you want to go back to that bubble and just because that's comfortable, or do you want to explore the real truth of what's really going on behind the scenes of smoke and mirrors of what they're actually showing us, and get the reality of what's going on Earth?
It's a one-way trip over that threshold of even being able to entertain the idea that the Earth may not be a spinning ball. Once you see it, there is no going back, really, unless, of course, you're in belief, which, like Rob was saying, if you've not tested it, then you're probably believing, and you can be 100% believer and be a believer for the rest of your life, but you'll always be a believer unless you test it for yourself. Then you've always got that knowledge that now you know that unless you're talking to someone who's done exactly the same experiment that you've done and got different results, then it's a big difference between knowing and believing, I think. But
so, John, if you're trying to tell people about how far you should see, then you've got to explain to them the math on the curve, and
who doesn't glaze over?
They don't believe that. They don't believe that.
No.
Because I've explained that many, many, many times, and they don't believe that. They said, "Oh, that doesn't sound right," and then you show them.
They choose not to believe it, don't they? Because
you show them the Earth curve. You show them the Earth curve calculator, which is not we didn't make that up,
right?
And then you can tell them about atoms. Adam did a brilliant job on his math. You can't. A normal person can't go and get his calculator out and go and work it out the way he did. But that proved that the 8 inches per mile square is pretty close.
It's accurate.
Adams was absolutely spot on to the decimal point.
Yeah.
But the 8 inches per square mile is very, 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 very close, and you can use it for small mileage. So.
And the curvature calculator is based on Pythagoras theorem as well. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's not something that we flat earthers just pulled out of our ass and made up.
We did have a problem there at one stage, but didn't we, John? Remember I brought up remember we had that scale on there and it didn't add up. Remember that? And that was a bit of a turning point. I was thinking, well, that's not right. So the maths is not right, but. Remember that
you
one?
mean when we compared it with the Pythagoras?
The drop, and it just didn't seem right, and there was something going on, and
that's right.
But it turned, actually. I think a lot of us sort of got into the maths sort of side of it after that, didn't we?
Well, it turned out to be the 8 inches per mile squared turned out to be accurate up to about 500 miles, and then it dropped off a parabolic sort of rate. But there is absolutely no reason why you can't do it the way Adam did it with his formula. Which is absolutely, you can't argue it. Is what it is. So then you can apply it to what you see across the water and that island that's only 300 meters high or 300 foot high, and you can apply it then and even use their own ball earth curvature calculators online, and it's people will still deny it.
See, that's the thing right there. Now we're using your so-called machine to answer our questions, and it debunks the actual theory that you gave to us. And when we debunk it, now all of a sudden, now what do you say to that? Like you said, he just gave out this mathematical equation that literally works on Earth, on flat Earth, and what you gave us. And like I say, this isn't something that we made up in the last. This is a theory that goes back far, hundreds of years. So you see what I'm saying? So it's
absolutely. It's things like boats disappearing over the horizon and stuff. This is so easily disproved now. You can stand there on the beach and watch a boat disappear out of your sight. You literally cannot see it anymore. And then you can pull your binoculars out, look at the horizon and see it to the hills, see everything of it, and then carry on, getting a better lens and seeing it even further, and and they will still deny it. They'll still say it's looming, it's rising up, it's crazy.
For the uneducated, when you stand on a beach, you think the Earth is bigger than it is because you can see so far. So you don't think the curve is very, very much until you show someone the maths, and
why they don't believe maths.
And then they don't believe it because they can see so far. They don't believe your maths. Yeah.
I mean, what
I
they
had a
should have
nuclear
done.
engineer.
Sorry, go
I
ahead.
had a nuclear engineer for the Navy who was working at my old factory, and real smart guy. And when I brought this up to him, I showed him the picture of Chicago, gave him the numbers, and I said, "Go punch that into your AutoCAD. I know you got it. Go punch it in and see what happens." And all he could say after he came back was, "I don't know." He never snickered or laughed again. Yeah, he just about flat Earth. He doesn't know about the Earth. He's just like, "I don't know."
Yeah, I had that looking into flat Earth too, where all I could do was just shake my head and just say, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't fucking know anything."
You see, why did they make the Earth so small, 25,000 miles circumference or whatever? Why didn't they make
666, John? All the 10 miles
you
is
beat me to it,
666.
bro. I was trying to hit my mute.
All the sixes.
But why didn't they make it 250,000 miles circumference? I mean, so that there is no way that you could be able to look at a lighthouse 40 miles away and go, yeah, that's not possible.
Then the maps wouldn't have worked either, John, because it would have took you 5 days to fly around to England from here.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
So,
it must have been linked to travel
needed
or something. Or
let's face it, they did a great job, didn't they? They fooled us for a long time. They did a fantastic job.
Genius job.
Fantastic job.
Genius job.
Yeah. But they screwed up on God knows how many multiple dozens
Nikon screwed it up by making a good camera.
But
I just don't think they ever really thought that technology and social media and the way that every technology as advanced as it is now, I don't think they ever thought that it would get to this point to where you really have to come up with these elaborate schemes to keep everything under wraps.
Either that, or they knew that technology would catch up, and this is all part of the path we're meant to be taking. I've said from day one.
That's James true.
That and I know people get triggered by this when I say that flat Earth was a psyop, but because people think that a psyop is fake or it's not true or something. That's not what I'm saying. It's a psychological operation is to release flat Earth at this point, at this time. So in order to, I don't know, kickstart our frequencies or kickstart some sort of mass awakening, or because it's so in your face.
Yeah.
That if you do bother to look, you're going to know.
I can agree with that. That it's a slow peeling away of the layers, so to speak, with the technology catching up to where they can kind of, lay it on us, so to speak,
I mean,
so we're not.
Telescopes have been around for hundreds of years, haven't they? So anyone with a telescope back in the day could have seen a ship sail over the horizon and brought it back with their telescope. And this is what cracks me up, is that they still use that example as one of their best proofs. When they start talking to you like children in their dumb videos and stuff, ship sailing over the horizon. We
yeah, but they didn't have the internet to share it with everybody.
Right.
Exactly. But then you look at the books that Robotham wrote and Terra Firma and all these other books. You couldn't have laid it out more obviously back then, and it was still ignored or brushed under the carpet, and they managed to suppress it for another 100 years.
Well, it was even taught in schools back then, though. So maybe those books were for educational purposes, and we're just taught that Robotham was, thought to be a crazy person.
Yeah,
You're correct.
His Wikipedia page is hilarious. Sorry, Doug, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
David Weiss did an interview with a lady who was 102 years old, and she was taught in school that the Earth was flat. Back in
There
the
are
20s.
countries today that still teach it's flat. In South America, there are countries that it is the curriculum.
I would love to get my hands on one of those books. You know, that is that old that shows that theory.
I think Josh could sort you out there. They're all available, and this is,
okay.
this is what cracks me up is that if there was some sort of, I mean, there is censorship going on, but we can still buy replicas of these books that were written. What was Robotham 1889 or something? And it's beautifully written too. I mean, it's you wouldn't expect to be able to understand a book from the 1880s or whatever, but it's perfectly understandable. All the empirical experiments are perfectly understandable. It turns into a mind exercise rather than actually having to go out and do it yourself. It's the same with gyroscopes. If you understand how they work, you know we don't live on a spinning ball. So yeah, right. I highly recommend reading those books because you won't be able to put them down. They're so well written and easily explained. It's beautiful.
Gotcha.
And we've been joined by Mrs. Cammie Nodell.
Cammie!
How's it going, Cammie?
I think she's still trying to sort her audio out.
Cammie, you're muted.
How to unmute.
And a big shout out to Billy Ray Valentine, whom I see in chat.
Yes. Oh,
Hello?
Billy Ray.
There she is.
Hello?
Cammie.
Hi,
Hi,
Cammie.
Hey.
Oh, I found you guys. Sorry, I'm connected via 3 different ways on here just because we're winging it. Thank you for your patience. I forgot today was Friday. They were on doing the journalism lounge, and for some reason I thought it was Sunday. Moving makes you crazy. I am so sorry. It really makes you crazy.
I bet it does. Well, how are you doing, Cammie? How's life?
I am. Life is good. Life is really, really good. I think we told you or whatever. I'm not sure where we were last week, but we found our new home, and I couldn't be happier. And just adjusting to life on the East Coast right now. And again, we'll be able to move in the 1st of September. So it's coming up soon. A whole
Nice.
new world.
Yeah, that's real soon.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm joining in late, and you're having such a good conversation. So I'm going to listen to everybody and to you, Doug, and see where I can join in. I flunked studying this week. I really apologize. Thanks for allowing me still on.
Oh, you gotta be.
Oh, no problem.
You're welcome anytime, Cammie. You know that. Provided you can find the link. Sorry, I was somewhere. I just don't remember where. I had something to say. Must have been super important.
I was listening to an interview you were doing. I didn't get to hear it all, Josh. It was outstanding.
Oh, thanks.
Outstanding.
Well, yeah, because I hope I dealt with Bob's references and Jaron's references in an okay way. I was a little worried about that I sort of handled his questions about that documentary. It had been so long. I watched it once, not even sure I finished it to the end. And that was right when it first came out. The things he was talking about with the experiments, I don't remember any of that stuff. So I just kind of played it by ear, but I did the best I could.
I thought that's what you were going to reply, Josh, to him, because I heard you sort of snigger, as you do, when he was talking about it. I thought you were going to say, sorry, I haven't watched that, because it's quite clearly such crap. Well,
I know I started
you did try and set them up so that Bob and Jaron could go on the show. Do we get any follow-up from that? Because that would be cool.
Well, I've not, because I've not really had the chance, and I know Bob is in the middle of a move. And
he's in the middle of the chat now.
He is in the middle of the chat right now. But I think Daniel would really like to have a flat Earth show. And since my flat Earth show ended up being considerably less than a flat Earth show, I hope I did open that door, and I would love to see Bob and Jaron go on there and make it a flat Earth show. I would love to see Bob present him with his preponderance of evidence that it is indeed fact, that it's flat, and see how Daniel deals with the science and what he has to say about it.
And explain what those scumbags that made the documentary did. Now you can see the damage that documentary did, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what people go to. It's like, yeah, I watched this documentary and they finished it at the end and this guy, Jaron, said, interesting. And, I mean, what a bunch of scumbags. But I'd love Bob to actually put that on the record again in... And the good thing about Daniel is his audience may be completely different to any of our audiences. So you're opening it up to a whole new audience of open-minded people.
Yeah, I think they'd get a big kick out of it. I really do. Having Bob and Jared on there, I think it would be really good for Daniel and his audience.
Well, he was begging for it. I mean, Bob or Jaron or both would be, or Bob and Jaron.
Yeah, I think he even said, we can do it tomorrow if that's the only time it'll work.
He did. He was gagging for it.
Now, Bob, who's in the chat and doing this, I just handed over my phone because I was using chat on my phone, but I'm hooked up to his computer because my phone I don't have a headset that will hook onto my phone. We're all confusing because we don't have any of our pieces and parts that we normally have. He is listening right now for the first time. I told him we were talking. I think he would love to. I know that I was at the house when they filmed the documentary, and I was at the theater when they premiered the documentary, and what they filmed at the house and what they put on the documentary were two. Again, we it's so frustrating when you sit there and watch your husband give one piece of evidence after another, and they were totally at the house. Again, they acted totally enthralled, very interested in that. And then when they stepped away, they took weird snippets and pieced them together weird. And you learn that you signed your life away when you signed those agreements. Oh, do you want the headphones?
Not those, the earbuds.
Oh, the earbuds. The earbuds are right. I'm sorry. Right here. So I know that, again, the movie was nothing but frustration on our end. And again, so sad on what they did to it. Because, again, I sat there for 3 days and watched my husband give proof after proof after proof after proof.
It was a hit piece.
It was a hit piece.
Doug, have you seen it, Beyond the Curve or whatever it's called?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's still there. I think Daniel watched it on Netflix recently.
I'll look it up as soon as we get off, because
Behind the Curve.
I feel bad. I heard it was a hit piece, and I never clicked on it.
I never watched it.
I don't give a second to anybody that's spreading bullcrap like that.
I loved it.
I don't give them
thought
one
it was a
second.
fantastic movie. I loved it.
Changed your life, didn't it, Rob? Rob the baller.
Speaking of Netflix, have you seen that documentary that they just they might have canned it? It was called Cuties. Have you seen that?
No. Was this the one out of France?
Yeah, it won a Sundance Film Festival award or something like that. It's
I actually saw the
11
artwork.
and 12-year-old, 11 and 12-year-old girls.
Right. I saw that artwork go by before they changed it on my Netflix feed and was like, what the fuck is this? But didn't click into it because it was late, and it was like, I figured it was just some kind of, they have a lot of foreign things that have been on there lately. So I was like, whatever.
They're not trying
and the next
to
day I saw the uproar.
Pedophilia, are they?
Yes, John.
Yeah,
Yep. There's a couple of girls on a pole and all dressed up like hookers, and
yeah, it's softcore pedophilic porn is what it is.
Wow. But it's not the first thing they've done that way, though. They've had shows that have done this kind of thing before, like topics that are not for kids in cartoons that obviously are aimed at kids and just things like that on Netflix. So I don't understand why this suddenly is raising the red flag. I guess maybe everybody's hypersensitive and aware right now, maybe.
Well, I think this was pretty damn blatant. The things they were having them
Have
say,
you
the
seen
things
that
they're
Big
having them
Mouse
do.
cartoon that's on Netflix that kids watch regularly?
Do they? No.
I walk in and kids are watching this, and I'm like, do y'all know what this is that these kids are watching? They're like, it's a cartoon. I'm like, yeah, watch the fucking thing for 5 minutes.
What is
Right.
it? What's it? It's along the same lines.
Just overtly sexual. Oh my God, is it overtly sexual?
Yeah, it's hard work.
Have you gone back and watched an old Pee-wee's Playhouse? Good Lord, I can
It
understand
was
why.
always sexual. Sorry, I'm eating.
Oh, it was. I couldn't believe it when I went back and watched, because I used to watch it all the time when I was younger. And then when I was like maybe 30 or something like that, and he was doing his comeback or whatever, I went back and watched an old one. And I thought it was a new one for adults. I was like,
Wow.
no way, this is what I was watching as a child. But we didn't get the humor.
He was able to subvert Saturday Morning with that. That show was never meant for kids ever. He somehow snuck it by because they were just idiots, I guess, in Hollywood. Or
well, he's a cartoon. He's a human cartoon. Nobody took him seriously. What the hell is this guy going to do? What's he going to do?
Right.
Go stand off in a porn shop and jack off? He's not a maniac. He's hippie for the kids. It'll be fun.
There's stuff in the UK that was put out over the BBC and that sort of thing now. That's coming out now, like Postman Pat. Did you guys ever have Postman Pat? It was like
Not done or
stop-start animation. You might have had it in Australia, but yeah, people have gone back, analysed it now. And
what is it called?
Postman Pat.
No, I don't.
No, I remember that.
Yeah, it was. It's now been shown. I mean, good grief! Outside the BBC headquarters in Whitechapel, I think it is in London. I used to live about 3 miles from it. There's still a statue that was created by a now known convicted paedophile of an adult getting a blowjob from a child.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Still there. I mean, how they're tearing down statues left, right, and centre, but the pedophile getting gobbed off on the roof of the BBC is still there. It just makes me sick.
That's a whole world, in itself, right there with the pedophiles, man.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those subjects that once you spend a little time going down that rabbit hole, you realize you've learned more than you wish you had.
Right.
At some point, you cross the line and you can't fucking go back.
Yeah, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to go down that rabbit hole because that infuriates me like to no end.
Yeah, I mean, I know it happens. I don't want to go read stories about it anymore. I don't want to research it. I want it to stop. Absolutely.
Yeah,
but
I want fair trials and gallows high. That's what I want, but I can't really say that, can I?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything, John. Don't worry about it.
I don't even mean in our sort of circle. I mean, it's you can't even say that. I'll probably get SWAT teamed in a minute for threats or something against no one. But you can't be. These people don't deserve what to carry on breathing. I'm sorry.
Right, but the sad part about it is there's a lot of money behind it, backing that whole system. A lot of money, power behind it.
We're ruled by the psychopathic pedophiles.
Right. The people that decided we should have money, those are the motherfuckers that decided it'd be okay to F kids.
The people who are teaching 0 to 4-year-olds how to masturbate and play with each other, it's coming from the UN. That's their curriculum. So we've got the UN, we've got the World Health Organization, we've got UNESCO, we've got It's not difficult to see and be able to point the fingers as to where this bullshit's coming from.
Here in Australia, and I think it's the same in the UK as well, John, we had a Royal Commission here back in 2014, 2015, and 28 high-profile judges, politicians, and even one prime minister got named in the Royal Commission as being pedophiles. That those documents have been handed to the police, and now they've been suppressed for the next 90 years. No one can see those documents for the next 90 years. And I think exactly the same thing happened in the UK.
And if
exactly
that
the same
doesn't
thing.
incite absolute rage in the Australian people, as with the Hampstead kids case in the UK, as with almost every MP in history being revealed as a disgusting paedophile after death, along with the royal family and their enablers like Jimmy Savile. I mean, it's just people just want to la, this isn't happening. I don't want to look at that, because it's so raw.
That Hampstead children, John, and I'm trying to go back to the story. I've seen little clips on it, and it's been a while since I watched Jaron's documentary on it, or he had a little talk on it. Those kids. So the police didn't believe the kids, did they?
Well, no.
So the police didn't even go into the school to check out to see if there was any truth to what was going on at all.
Well, the police were probably in on it.
No, the kids.
I mean,
remember, Rob?
The
They
kids
were
said
in on
every teacher was in.
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. That's
So
right.
the whole town was in on it. The governor. I mean,
the kids could give you the teacher's name and tell you what tattoo she had next to her fanny, and they never even bothered to interview the teacher. And then further down the line, people looking into what the teacher, she was looking up how to remove tattoos on Facebook, or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, it was utterly unbelievable. There's hours and hours of footage interviewing these kids, and yes, the police were absolutely guiding them, and they were controlling the entire interview. It was hushed up from the start, and Hampstead and that area is a hotbed for all of this and always has been. But that's been brushed under the carpet and thrown away, and I expect a SWAT team any second.
How many people? How many people do you think know about the Hampstead children, and even the 28 people that I've just spoken about? How many of us know about those things? Because they're not reported.
Very little.
They're not reported in the mainstream media. When you tell people, they're oblivious. They
I
don't
would
know what you're talking
say
about.
it's in the thousands in the UK.
So, Doug?
Only thousands, yeah.
Yeah. It should be the millions. It should have been front page news. It should have been, dawn raids on everyone. But no, it was absolutely hushed under. The kids disappeared. No one even knows where they are now. They've been in their teens, well into their teens.
Do we know what school it was?
Yeah. Everything. School, the church, the names of the people, and it made mainstream media on the BBC, who interviewed the poor father, and I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
Yeah, I can hear them cocking rifles outside.
So, Cammy, I think you was trying to ask me a question. I heard you say my name.
Doug, I'm sorry, my microphone was going in and out. I was going to let you know, I noticed how people, in America, they will even sing along to songs with the lyrics and have no clue what they're seeing, what they're actually even singing on the words. Where I noticed I was in the bridal industry on the jury, but we got together with bridal shows and that with different industries, and it caught my eye that one of the number one songs back in the day was a song by Sheena Easton called "Saving All My Love for You."
Yes.
And I'm thinking they're recommending this song. It's a #1 wedding song, right? If you listen to the lyrics, it's about being in love with a married man. And how sad it is. It's like, okay, so these people are playing at their wedding a sob story about this woman that's saving her love for a man that's got a wife and kids.
Right.
Right. And they're playing it as their song that they're dancing with, like, again, a main wedding song. It's like that's how disconnected people are, is they'll actually sing along with the words and not even listen to what they're saying. And the same
Well,
with the cartoons and the watching that. They've somehow made some type of disconnect where, again, you can say the words and sing along and not even know what you're doing. And it
Right.
confuses me. I don't even know what to do with it.
I'll go one better on that. Rob, do you remember that video you shared of? It was a band that were playing all the. Zach, you might remember all the chords.
Axis of awesome. They call themselves. Yeah.
Axis of awesome, and the video itself had something like 18 million views or something ridiculous, and every single song there were, let's say there were 100 songs in it. There was one song in there where he was singing a cover of the Spice Girls, and he said, "I want to make love to your baby," and no one picked up on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, it's not in the normal song.
No.
But in that one,
It's
they
in
did
the
a concert. They did a concert. So just for everyone to know,
Right.
they did a cover. So it's a lot of songs out there have got 3 or 4 chords, and they proved that they could play all these songs with the same sort of beat and the same chords just over and over and over, and they could add all these songs in there. It's really good actually. But in most of them, John, they don't say that.
No.
But in that one concert they did, he said that, and the other 2 band members they stopped and they looked at him, and then they kept playing after he said that. So it was a bit weird. So when you posted that, I think it was you who posted that. I went, and then I went back to other videos, and they didn't say that. So it was just that one concert where he said it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was on that video, and I mean, the original was going to make love to your baby, which we've all heard from the Spice Girls or whatever. But this guy made a point of saying going to make love to your baby. And it's like Cammy was saying, it just goes above the heads of 99.9% of the people that are listening.
Because they're making a joke out of it, John. People laugh at it because they think it's funny, but in some respects, the people that are saying these things are dead serious. They're just making a joke out of it.
I don't think it's funny at all. And again, another one was oh crap! I'll come back to you on it.
You got to wonder why the people in these audiences, they hear that and they laugh. Because comedians are saying it, so we'll laugh. We're in a spot where we should laugh, so we will laugh.
Yeah.
That's how indoctrinated they are. They laugh at that shit.
Was Indiana Jones, when you remember when he goes into, it's like a snowy scene in a pub, and the bird is drinking crazy amounts of shots and outdrinks the big fat fellow with the curly hair.
Yeah. Remember that.
And in that, it's said right in front of your face. This is Spielberg, isn't it? That I was just a child, and he says you knew what you were doing, and then you work out later on. It says she was 26 or something, and it was something like 10 or 12 years ago. So it's telling you right there that basically he raped a child.
Right.
And because it's indie and because it's a cult movie and we love it, that's all right. That's cool. No problem.
Right. Liz put in the chat that the band The Police sing Every Breath I Take. It's about a stalker and it's common at weddings. Liz, all of the songs that were common at weddings, 80% of the songs that were common at weddings that were on the playlist were completely wrong for a wedding. I mean, completely inappropriate for a wedding. You're right. It was either about being in love with a married man or having a stalker or having a really sick relationship. These are not these are not
Love songs.
love songs or what you would want a good they are not healthy relationship songs, to say the least.
Right.
And yet the list of the wedding songs was popular wedding songs was just filled with songs like that were sulker, or again something that was just completely wrong. And it's like, who puts together these lists, and does anybody listen when like they pick out their own wedding music that and singing like it? It really got to me, because again, it just caught me off guard. I listened to lyrics. I'm really caught up to
there's a song out there, and I can't remember I do know the beat, but there's no way I'm singing it to let you know which one it is.
Come on,
and it's about a shooting, and there was a beer company over here that had it on there. So they were selling beer, and there's people on the beach, and it's a bit of an upbeat song. And they had the people on the beach running around drinking beer, and the song is about shooting and pumps. You had the shoes and the pumps, and I don't know if I'm
All the
trying to think of the beat of
little
it.
kids with the pumped up kicks, better run, better run, outrun my bullet.
Commercial.
Yeah,
they had that as a beer commercial, and all these people were running on the beach and having fun. And I was looking at it going, hang on a minute, this is about that. And that was only on for a few days, and then I never saw it again. So obviously someone told the beer company or the advertiser, saying, you know what this song's about?
Right.
My favorite is Born in the USA. Everybody thinks that's some kind of American song, when the whole song he's ripping the United States. If you go and read the words, it's not about the United States being a good place. He talks about going off to foreign lands and killing people and this and that, and but people think because
I'm just going to throw it out there too. Does everyone think that he's constipated when he's trying to sing? That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's trying to squeeze one out. He's trying to hold. Something's going on with that bloke. I don't know.
Him and the ACDC
He just needs
guy.
to calm down. He needs, he needs to maybe go and sit in the John for a little while and let things out, and then he can come and sing after that, because I don't like it. It's
prefer Green Day. I prefer Green Day. I don't want to be an American idiot. That's better. But speaking of wedding songs,
they sing about some good stuff, actually. Green Day, John. You listen to the words of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
Great,
very, 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 very good. Yeah, very like the music is really, really good. But if you asked most people on the street, what's that song about, they'd go, I don't know.
I don't know. This is funny too. That I had an office mate that was that song. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. Anyway, I would have it on in the office, and she would like, don't you know what that song's about? It's dirty. It's about sex. And it's like, oh, come on. This isn't the same genre as She Never Lost Her Head, even when she was giving head. Say, hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side.
What song isn't about sex? Yeah.
Right. But the other song that's like really fascinating is, are you guys know Spirit in the Sky?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit in the, that's where you're going to go when you die.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Listen to that song carefully, and then look at the history of that. That's by a Jewish man who was standing and watching people come outside of church at a funeral. And he hadn't experienced yet, but he happened to be walking outside a church that was, the funeral was doing that, and he was listening to these people, and he just wrote a song about the people at the church and what they were saying. But Alan Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky, and we got a friend in Jesus is where I'm going to go when I die, or whatever. It's somebody that has never been in a church, just like kind of mocking.
Right.
So, Cammy, what songs did you have at your wedding?
What songs did I have at my wedding? I had, I did play There Is Love. And I did a version by...
Right.
Sorry, that's all I wanted.
Did a...
Do you have that at your wedding set?
The music cute already. All right.
Yeah. I handpicked very carefully every single song at our wedding, and none of them were We're wrong. I did do a version of a song called Take My Breath Away by Tuck and Patty that nobody has ever heard. I did several songs that probably people have never heard that I think were very special. Yeah, the one,
I used to love
the wedding
her,
song.
but I had to kill
I
her.
was thinking exactly the same, Rob. She's buried right here in my backyard. I actually had Guns N' Roses song at my wedding, and yeah, don't
14
tell
years.
Valiant, don't tell. No, it's 15 years, isn't it? Or 14.
14 years, you don't even know.
Don't tell Daniel, Josh, but it was called Patience.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Get in the Ring.
Would you guys like to know Bob's choice of wedding songs and what we played on his request? Put out something that, we can tease him on this, and this was over 20 years ago, but he wanted to play Prince, Diamonds and Pearls.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, we picked out the music together, and I know that was one that was on his must list, and the wedding song was on my list. It always brings a tear to my eye. But yeah, we're still married, so I guess we did okay.
Yes, you did.
Can't be too bad, eh? Doug, are you married?
No, I'm divorced actually.
Oh, good. Okay, that's why you and Josh get along quite well, I imagine.
Yeah. We have a lot of common.
Not a bullet dodged, but a bullet survived.
That's right.
Josh has got a lovely, lovely, lovely wife. I love Josh's wife.
She's buried right here in my backyard.
Oh, that's right.
You're gonna have me singing that song when we get off here.
Join us for a sing-along on Wednesday sometime.
Yeah, Bob and I snuck in our 20 years during our little travels. On the road, we snuck in 20 years one of those days, Josh. I'm not sure which one of them, but our anniversary hit on one of them.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Rob, what did they play at your wedding?
Oh, can't remember, mate. It's too long ago.
Too many beers.
I really don't want to think about that shit.
Rob,
sticks in my guts.
Moving on.
Is there any flat Earth girls that are single out there? Just call me.
I think there probably are. So, has anyone come across this Earth United stuff? I wanted to bring this up. They've just they're bringing out an app, and my alarm bells are going already. But I don't know if I'm being paranoid. But they're trying to get people together. They're trying to get 100,000 people in each different country, like South Africa, Australia, UK. Are people familiar with this? Because they just sent an email out today saying they've opened a load of private chats on Telegram, and they're listing. You join basically the nearest one to you. So, have you heard about this, Rob?
No
No,
clue.
no, sorry, I was muted. Sorry, no.
No, it's Earth United guy. It's what is his name? Casanova. He's getting out there a bit now. But yeah, I was just surprised because my actual nearest town is listed on there, and no one knows my nearest town. It's like some, pissant backwater nothingness. But all sorts of, especially in the UK, they've got probably over 100 cities in there. But I'm not sure they had anything up your way, Rob. Byron Bay is your way, isn't it?
Oh, it's about 1,500 kilometres away.
That's close. That's a day's drive for you.
Close enough.
I've never been there. It's the bloody pot capital of Australia down there.
Yeah, I went there. They got a nice lighthouse as well. But
yeah,
yeah,
it sounds kind of scary that they would have that type of a thing going now all of a sudden.
Well, it's all about your birth certificate. Oh, here's one, Doug. Have you got into this? That your birth certificate is your parents basically handing you over as a dead corporation, straw man. Does the birth certificate, just that word, ring a bell with you?
I heard something about the actual numbers of the your birth certificate actually the way you add them up or the way that the numbers are configured actually gives like a pinpoint, like a location on a map.
Right.
So
right.
it actually tells, like, you know, like your property to, say, if you were born in Michigan where I was, it's a certain number configuration versus somebody that was born in California. So it's kind of like a livestock type of system where they can narrow down where your origin, you know, basically of where you're from based off of your social security and who you pretty much belong to in the grand scheme. Yeah.
Not as far-fetched as it sounds, but I'm sure Josh could bring you up to scratch on the whole birth certificate thing. But yeah, that's what these Earth United sort of guys, they've got a bunch of legal eagles together, or, you know, common law legal eagles together, and they're looking to do something. I don't know. I avoid these sort of things like the plague most of the time, and I like to stand back and watch and see what's going on. But I'm sure a few in chat know what I'm talking about, and if not, anyone on the panel.
It's news to me. I've seen lots of people coming together and trying to do all sorts of things in the common law and trying to take people to task under common law jurisdiction.
Paying off their debts with all the money that's
that's when
behind your birth certificate. Yeah. Like you are a stock commodity and everybody has, you know, currency like in their stock. And they buy and trade them like it's any other stock. I've heard that too. I've
used to be, once upon a time, you could go to Standards & Poor's website, and they're the guys that run the S&P 500. But you could search on Standards & Poor's your birth certificate. I'm not sure exactly where on the website where you plug it in, but you can search
many times, yeah,
and find it.
I don't think I know anyone who ever did it and anyone get anything from it. I think that's the hook they try and get you on. You know, you've got this account with trillions of pounds in it. You could live. Yeah, it's all bollocks as far as I know. But that's not to say they don't trade us as commodities. That's absolutely how it works. You know, but you can't go look yourself up on Dun & Bradstreet and stuff and see how much you're worth and go cash in a check or anything along those lines. I see it. It's Nemo in chat is saying, "Nah, leave it." And I'm the same. I'm highly suspicious of these things, but yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
they're trying to get 100,000 from each country, and then they're going to conduct common law courts and hold judges and politicians and this sort of thing to account. Which, has been tried before successfully in some cases, like the Birkenhead arrest of a judge up there. And now, if not now, then when, you know? It's a great time for this sort of thing to take off. But there's something that's this little niggling sort of doubt in the back of my Earth United head.
Well, we touched on a subject this morning. If you guys don't mind me, oh my goodness, you're so vicious.
Whatever chance you get, every chance you get, bring it up, Zach.
Yeah, we were talking about First Amendment audits. And I was wondering about overseas. Do you guys see anybody? I know it's probably not called the same thing, but your freedom of speech and your freedom of the press, are there people flexing those rights over there?
Yeah, very few.
Crime Bridge is one. There's a few channels
Crime
out there.
Bodge.
Is that what it is, Bodge?
Crime Bodge and Joe Public UK, I think, is another one. But Yeah, very few. There were a lot more 10 years ago, but it fizzled out and it almost disappeared. Well, it did disappear in my sort of research as soon as Flat Earth came along.
Same.
Make of that what you will.
Right.
Yeah, here in the States, there are lots of people doing this, and more it seems like every day. Just going out and, using their rights, and it's more about educating the public than it is the police anymore, because a lot of the police they know what's going on.
The trouble is they've got a name though, haven't they, Zach? They're First Amendment auditors now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they can literally be labelled terrorists tomorrow by the mainstream newspapers. And,
Right.
They can all day long, but that's not going to just detract from the very specific wording in the Constitution. So until they're ready to hold some sort of convention or...
But you remember sovereign citizens and freemen on the land.
Oh, sure.
As soon as you sort of clump them together in a group or a name or flat earthers, then, we're now domestic terrorists.
Yeah. First Amendment
I
auditors.
had a lot of
fantastic.
the sovereign citizens over here as well now, too.
Yes.
Mhm.
I look at a lot of license plates, and it's just something I've always done, because on long car rides and stuff, you got to have something to look at. And yeah, I've seen a couple now that were traveler, and that's all it says.
And I think sovereign citizen is just like conspiracy theorist. Well, no, and it's not even. It's quite a bit different, actually. It's similar in that they've hijacked it and are trying to use it as some sort of derogatory term. But when reality is, it's the cops themselves that are sovereign citizens. And I think the First Amendment auditors have done a really good job at pointing this out and has really cut this whole sovereign citizen argument off right at the knees. I mean, you can't have somebody standing there accusing you of being a sovereign citizen, right? Someone who believes that the laws just don't apply to them and thereby you're dangerous, when they have something called immunity. You don't get qualified for immunity as a police officer. So you get to do all sorts of horrible things. And then you get to be bonded by an insurance company through the city, through your employer, just in case you go so overboard that they're going to have to start paying out a big shit ton of money. But you've got a bond for that. So it's not like you have to pay it out specifically because you have this qualified immunity. So you can just claim ignorance and do whatever the fuck you want. But as soon as somebody points out, hey, what you're doing is wrong because here's what it is, and you continue, even though somebody already informed you, now you lose that qualified immunity. Now they go after your house. Now they go after your cars, and you become destitute because you are an overreaching, power-hungry son of a bitch cop.
But also, isn't sovereign citizen a bit of an oxymoron in itself? I mean, how can you be sovereign if you think you're a citizen?
Exactly. Right. If you're a citizen, you're definitely not sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a sovereign, you're definitely not a citizen of any country.
Yeah. That's what sort of cracks me up a bit.
Unless you have a private capacity and you spend your time operating in the public capacity. Sort of like a
You can wear several different hats, yeah, as and when you choose.
So that just sounds like you're wearing one of them Sherlock Holmes hats. Bill front and the bill back. You're a sovereign citizen.
Dear stalker. First Amendment stalker. No, you can't use stalker at all, can you?
Nope. For the same reason you can't use harassment. You can't harass somebody if you've just seen them once today. That's not harassment.
But I'm totally on board with all these, sifting through the body cams and stuff that you're looking at the moment, Zach. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, even the people that aren't doing the audits, they are going through every single second of FOIA requested body cams of police officers and finding all kinds of stuff. And these police aren't just getting a slap on the hand. they're getting, I mean, chief of police, there are mayors that have been removed, all kinds of these public officials. Sorry, they're having a war on my bed. But all the public officials are being held accountable for their actions in public. And I
But
love it.
who's holding them accountable? Are the people that are going through the videos, are they like initiating civil suits or private prosecutions or
civil suits? Yep.
Love it. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
But aren't the federal courts in the US shut now? Because this gets resolved at the federal level, doesn't it? Which has always bugged me as well, because federal government shouldn't exist in a free world either. But it seems that, you know, all the county courts and everything are just stonewalling this. And
exactly.
Sorry, carry on.
The whole infrastructure here is just is horrible.
Yeah, one way to describe it. Same over here. I don't know. I mean, we've lost trial by jury, all but lost trial by jury. High courts, I don't know, and this is why I'm sort of interested in any sort of movement that is using the convened common law court route. But they need enforcement. They need to be able to enforce the rulings that they come to, and that's always been the problem with it.
I got to thinking, if you want to be charged and tried, and if you sign all your paperwork with a reservation of rights, I wonder if here in the U.S., if you take it to a jury trial, you could prove that a jury of your peers would also reserve their rights.
Yeah, absolutely. If they knew.
Yeah, when I was on a jury, they hand you a piece of paper that says that you give the rights over to the judge to determine the sentence that this person will get. But really, the jury has the right to, hand down a sentence.
They can nullify their entire
Yeah, they can
law.
say, yeah. But the jury has to sign away their rights to then allow a judge to say this person gets this much time or gets this,
Wow.
Where
right there. That's fraud right there.
I never would have signed it if I would have.
Something.
Because I didn't want to be there anyway. I bet they would have tried to get rid of me if I wouldn't have signed it.
Oh, I'm sure they would have. That's why if I was ever, I don't think they would. I suppose it's possible they could research their records way back and find, hey, he was registered to vote at once upon a time. Let's call him for jury duty. But,
right.
Yeah, those two words, jury nullification, will get you sent home with the quickness.
Well, that's another thing, too, that kind of threw me for a loop because I've never registered to vote, never voted, never, puppet A, puppet B, never cared about it. But they told me they were doing it for people who had reinstated their license or reinsured their vehicle registration.
Well, I've never voted, Zach. I've never voted all the times that I could have done. I've never registered to vote, and somehow I'm registered to vote. So, yeah. They get you somewhere else. They get you somewhere else where, it's if you don't tick this tiny little box, then we will add you as a registered voter or something. No one else in the house is registered. It's just me. So interesting.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that the root word of register is regis.
Mm-hmm.
As in king. So it kind of lets you know what it is you do when you register something, who it is you're giving your control over to.
You're handing your property, you register your car, you register your child's birth, you're handing your property over to the king or to the ruling class, or whoever decides to.
That's one of the things about becoming a sovereign citizen. You can't just take your license plate off and burn your license and then you're a sovereign citizen. You actually turn these things back over to the state and say, I'm not using this for commercial purposes. I don't need this. I would like a thing showing that I've turned this into you, and I'm just going to use the roads for travel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working. Cops hate them. Don't get me wrong. They will put you through the ringer as much as they possibly can and waste your time.
But again, you sent a link on that, didn't you, about that guy who pulled over the guy without plates, and he had "not for hire" written on the car, and he was really well spoken, and this was obviously a new cop, and his buddy turned up, and he was like, these bloody sovereign citizens, I'd have taken him, I'd have put him through the ringer, but all this sort of thing. You sent that link out, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's like the old cops, what are the cops that were around during the good old days before body cams?
Keystones.
A lot of them are leaving. Yeah, they're leaving now. And a lot of these people out here doing all this stuff are educating these younger police on just what they can do. And when there's a camera on your persons at all time recording what you're doing, you're held accountable now.
But
there is
also,
no your word versus my word anymore.
It's good to educate the younger police, or the police that have just come into the service, because if you think about it, they were more likely to have the rose-tinted glasses of why they were going into the service and why they were becoming police, was to catch criminals and protect the vulnerable and, do the right thing. Whereas these old Keystone corrupt, backhanded, assholes were
Good
set
old
in their
boy
ways.
gang.
Yeah, and it's the same with politicians. These career politicians that are in there and have made billions of pounds. Their time's come. They need to leave, and the next round of people in there purporting to represent us need to be educated on who is the servant and who is the paymaster.
You should hear some of these people speak to the police. Oh my Lord, the stuff they say to them is like, it'd be unheard of to speak to a cop like that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it that way, but I understand why some people would, just to show other people, yeah, I can talk to this guy. He's my employee. I haven't broken the law, so he has no right to, he has no authority over me.
No,
I am
it's the
his
same
boss
over here.
right now.
People
And
like
they speak to him that way.
civil disobedience and crime bodge and these other people, they're shoving it down their throat. If they're getting any sort of flack from the police, or they're asking them to ID themselves.
If the police are nice and cordial, a lot of them, even the ones that are smart asses most of the time, will be cordial. But if you come up asking questions and, barking orders, then they throw it right back in their face.
Name, address, and license. You're just like, excuse me? Where's the emergency officer? Why did you pull me over?
How can
I'm sorry, I don't answer questions today.
Yeah, he's like, I'll show you my license if you show me yours.
Yeah.
Like, no, my name's right here. He's like, no, I want to see your state ID. Show me your state ID and I'll show you mine. And no cop does it.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think this on the way it is at the moment, a peaceful basis, but forcefully, but peacefully informing these people that they're not who they've been trained to think they are. I think that's absolutely healthy.
Yeah, I think the department, as we know, as far as police is concerned, as far as I see it in the States, they're not really policing. They really not doing what they were called to do.
No, they're revenue generating.
Yeah, they're revenue generators, and you're preying on the people of the community, and depending on which jurisdiction you're in, it's really bad. And it's funny how you can be really assertive on these traffic stops and these so-called minor offenses and blow people away. But when people are calling you for real domestic violence going on, as far as like robberies in progress and shootings and real violence, it takes the police 40 minutes to show up. But you know, some of these cases that's not violent at all, or it's a black guy or a minority, you know, somebody feel their life
black
is in
guy
danger.
filming a thing from a public thing, and people freak out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, things like that. They're showing up in 30 seconds, and they're matter of fact, they're right there. Oh no, you know, they can find a place within seconds. And to me, it's like, you know, it's really lopsided, and really, like I say, now all this stuff is starting to come to the forefront. You know, thank God that there's a lot of change that's going to come from this. But we need, you know, the whole infrastructure of the, you know, police needs to be reevaluated, because, like you say, the way they've been going about policing the so-called jurisdictions in this country is sad. And it's not just here; it's all over the world. You know, it's sad the way that they move.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we're pretty blessed here to have the rights that we do, and I love seeing people. You know, rights are like muscles. If you don't use them, they go away. So I am all for all these people, you know, using their rights. The people with the guns, the people with the First Amendment audits, all of it. I'm all for it. Just be smart about it.
Do you think rights are determined by where you live?
No, not at all. You're born with them.
Regardless of where you're born?
Mm-hmm. It's only man that gives you rights. It's only man that gives you privileges, should I say.
It makes sense.
You're born with these rights. You're born to travel wherever you want to go. You're born to live your life in peace and not be
not until a person
with,
decided to say you can't cross this line.
Or a group of people.
Yeah.
So when somebody says we have the right to health care, what the fuck does that mean?
You have the right to take care of your health. That's what that means. In whichever way you see fit.
Well,
not
I get
you
that.
have the right to sponge off other people paying for your bad habits and your life choices. That's how I see it.
Because in my experience, when I hear the right to health care, it doesn't usually involve me getting able to make my own choices.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's total opposite when I hear that statement.
It's back to front as with everything now. You know, if you had a right to healthcare, then you would have a right not to take a vaccine, which they're rapidly mandating you don't have a right to refuse. So I'm sorry, but that's a religion. It has as much validity as a religion. It has no basis in science, and therefore is a belief. And I don't believe in your viruses, your vaccines, or your masks. So take your religion and shove it where the sun don't shine.
And I don't believe that the right of healthcare is even a. You know how many medical herbs and minerals have been put on, like, no sell list now?
Mm-hmm.
Thistle. You cannot sell thistle in an herbal remedy shop anymore. Along with, I think it's 23 other different herbs and minerals.
So that's a lack of right to
healthcare. You have to
healthcare.
go out and find these things yourself. You can't buy them from somebody who's already gone out and procured them for you and dried them out and ground them up. You have to go do all this stuff yourself if you want to practice that type of healthcare.
And that's someone taking your right to healthcare.
Yeah, I had to give away medicine that I would make for people in Indiana because it would have been practicing medicine and I would have been arrested if I would have charged them any money for it. So I was just
That
donating
was kind of
my
how
services.
yeah, I'm sorry. That was kind of how the medical cannabis industry was when it first kicked off over there in Oregon when I first got Mom out there. It was a situation where you couldn't actually pay the grower directly, blah, blah, blah. Same idea. It was donations to
Yeah,
a
it's sort of a donation
fund.
type.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's sad because I'd give stuff to people, it would work, and then it was costing me money. So I'd tell them where to go buy it, and you can bring it here, and I'll make the pills for you right here. And they wouldn't. It was like, I don't know. They would rather go to a doctor now because it wasn't free. They'll go use their health care, their health insurance, and go get poison. Yeah. I don't know. Some people did. Don't get me wrong. There was a couple people that, were like, wow, this really works. Okay, where do I go get it from? How do I make it? But yeah, it's weird. For the part, people don't, they just want it handed to them. That's all they want.
Right.
And I think that's why the healthcare system has been able to fall off the rails as far as it has. Because people don't want to know. They just give it to me, I'll eat it, and I'll feel better. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
And it's ironic that they don't feel. You take one pill, and this one pill, you have to end up taking 7 more. Just poison.
Well, with Zach, it's like, it's like building your own house. You could learn, or welding or whatever, you could learn how to do it the long way. You could go through all the tutorials and take the lessons and everything and learn how to build your own house with bricks and mortar or whatever. Or you could pay a builder who's specialized in that area and has done all the hard work to build it for you. It's the same with medicine. You would rather go to a herbalist or something to get their expertise and their knowledge, or an alchemist in providing spagyric remedies or whatever the hell you want to call them. But it's when they take away the right of these people to practice in that capacity that, then we're forced to learn this sort of stuff ourselves and possibly cock it up. I'm coming from a position of where I had to make my own colloidal silver, and I had to make my own liposomal vitamin C, and basically had to go back and relearn everything I'd ever learned to try and heal myself. But it would have been a lot easier if I could have just found a practitioner that would have done that for me. But that's the thing, they demonize the practitioners, so you have to either become a legal expert and represent yourself. You have to become a herbalist classed in spagyrics and how to grow and handle and process these remedies, I'm going to call them. We're forced to do that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, if I could have got paid to make herbal remedies for people, I'd still be doing that. That'd be I love helping people get better and stuff like that. But I have to go to years of schooling and get their little certificate and then I can't even practice that medicine. I have to practice this certain type of medicine.
And you can't call it medicine.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a skin salve.
Can't cure anything. You can't say it cures anything.
Oh no, can't use that word.
Oh, by the way, you guys, I have one of those that I can't say cured anything, but I can say I want to thank Informally Hip so very much, because one of the things that I discovered moving to the East Coast is they have mosquitoes, and the mosquitoes love me. They love me more than everybody. They love me more than everybody combined. There's never been anyone that they've loved as much as me. And informally, I got a lot of tips from people on things that I've already tried and hadn't worked. But informally, Hip said, Cami, don't listen. I tried all of those things too. You are vitamin B1 deficient. I did go, and I've been taking every day since that day. It struck me that for some reason it struck me that it felt right. I've been taking a B complex vitamin every day with thiamine in it, and I am no longer their main course now. I'm just a little appetizer, a little bit of dessert. I still get a bite here and then, but I don't go out and come back in with literally like 20 or 30 bites each time I walk outside. So anybody else that is irresistible to the mosquitoes and chiggers, that I recommend B complex. Don't know what it cures, but it sure made a difference in my life, and I really appreciate the people again in the chat and people responding to and giving such great ideas, because it really made a difference.
That is really good to know. I always suspected there was a diet involved, and that probably had something to do with the flavor. But it's really interesting that it's vitamin B.
Yeah,
B1.
she swore it was a vitamin. She kept on. I mean, she was insistent because other people were putting in the vanilla lotion, which I've tried, and I think the bugs like the vanilla lotion myself. They're doing the different ones and the citronellus. None of those worked on me, and this is the first thing that ever did. And it's Haska-san. She told me I was B1 deficient, and when I went to the little grocery store out here, they didn't have any B1s. In fact, I had to ask the pharmacist what is B1 because my phone wouldn't even get data in this store, and it turned out to be thiamine. And it's part of, I did a mega B complex, which has got the whole B line of vitamins and vitamin C added to it too, which I figured couldn't do any wrong. I think the reason that it did strike me is I don't know if they said B1, but I know that every time I've ever had a blood test in my life, which has been a lot through pregnancies and that, I always showed up B6 and 12 deficient, and I always showed up iron anemic, like constantly all through the years. So it's been something that's been going on for like 50 years now that on the test. So it's one of the B vitamins, but it really changed the way that the mosquitoes see me, and I cannot appreciate it anymore.
Is that the one that you get hot flushes when you take? Like take the real stuff?
I think that's niacin that gives you the
niacin,
that's
yeah.
right.
And that is one of the B vitamins. Natalie Rankler, who's writing B1, B2, and B6 should be taken together in equal amounts. I do believe that what I'm taking does that. It was a mega B complex with added C in it. I could get the bottle of it, but I believe it does. It does have B1, B2, B6. It also has B12 and a few other things in there. So again, I am not practicing medicine, but I do know that I had deficiencies like throughout life where they'd always make a note, oh, by the way, you need to like, and I never listened to them. I never took the supplements or anything. I just like took note. I know that taking iron, which is what they really wanted to put in me, nothing makes me sicker. So it's like, okay. Yeah, I've never been able to take iron supplements without throwing up. And literally throwing up blood sometimes for hours. It's like taking poison to me.
Oh, wow.
And so I haven't generally jumped on, like when they tell me to take supplements. Yeah, prenatals, I couldn't take any of those things. I got really.
This is interesting, and I'll definitely try it. The only thing I found that worked for me was upping my garlic, which I take daily anyway, but I upped it tremendously just to see if that would actually work, because I was told when I take it immediately afterward, it would be something that she could smell on me. And I thought, well, if I up it a little bit, they'll stay away. Well, it worked. And she stayed away too. So I quit doing that. Huh, Michelle?
Right.
Over there laughing at me.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the vitamin B does not have any of those. You get a little bit flush from the niacin, and it does make your pee really bright lemon yellow, but I don't think that's so offensive.
That just means
it's better than not. You don't stink at least. So.
That just means you got to up your water intake.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, not necessarily a overly dark or that. It's just like a real unusually lemony, unusually lemony. But I think that is, again, just it was a yellow pill I took. So maybe that was the coloring on the tablet. Who knows? Maybe if my vitamin was a different color and a different brand, it would be a different color. I'm not quite sure how it all works. I really, really, really do try to avoid putting pills in my body I tried to do things naturally and do it at all sakes, but I was getting really eaten alive here and was desperate. And this has been, my body has not disliked any of the vitamins, and I've done really, really well with them. So,
What foods are high in B1 or B1,
I think
B2, and 6 or whatever?
I looked at the B1, and I think a lot of it was meats and things that I don't like to eat a lot of. Let me look it up again while we're on here.
Have you tried nettles, for stinging nettles? I think they're high in vitamin.
I don't know what that is.
In stinging nettles. Really?
Say it again.
Stingy nettles.
Nettles.
Stingy nettles.
Yeah.
I've never heard of stingy nettles. Stingy nettles. It doesn't sound. It sounds painful.
You're right there down here in the south.
I was gonna say they're
Liver
right there
and
on the
onions,
river.
Iron Realm. I know that was a good one on there. Liver and onions. Nothing is better than the first bite of liver and onions, and nothing is worse than the third and any bite after the third. That's one of those things that only tastes good for the first bite to me, and it's like gets old really fast. I think it should be liver and onions should be on like one of those dime-sized plates, sure.
Just like 3 bites
You've
worth.
not heard of stinging nettles.
I've never heard of them. Do tell.
I bet you're right. I bet you've got them down there, Kimmy. You're right there on the river. I bet you if you asked Karen or asked around, or
You brush
just
past them and they sting you.
I mean, and it's not just like it stings. It's like poison ivy times 10 for like 45
You
minutes.
see my screen, Cammy? Can you see my screen? Are you on a device that can see?
Yeah,
my
I
screen?
can't. Well, let me see. Let me get to this one here. Okay.
That quality
Okay, I am looking at them.
This is it. You've seen it. I don't know what they call it where you are.
They have them here. I don't think they have it in Colorado. If I've gotten those.
That's true. I forget. What Colorado's a lot different than I thought it was. Zach broke my brain today when he told me that there were no trees. It was basically plains, toppy area, and like, oh wow, I had no clue.
I knew this that when I worked in an industry and I had people fly in from all over the time, all over the world actually into Denver. People coming into Denver for the first time were always super duper surprised. They either A, thought that Denver was in the middle of the mountains. It's not. It's on the Front Range. It's flat as fuck. Excuse me. But no, it's much flatter there than it is here. Or they thought that it was the Wild West with Jim West and that they were walking into. I mean, a lot of people thought that they were going to walk into the 1800s in the Wild West coming into Denver. And it's like, no, we have buildings, we have highways and, skyscrapers and all of that. But what we don't have in Denver, and now I'm not there, and it's like I grew up a Colorado girl. It's kind of, it's sad. I'm 56 years old and it's my home. All of my family is there. We don't have water there. It's the Front Range is a very semi-arid. Denver is green only because we transplant in Kentucky bluegrass. And in order to do that, your house comes with a sprinkler system that you have to water every day. So my last month in Denver, my water bill was $385, and the month before was close to $400 for a water bill for watering an 8,000 square foot patch of arid land, or land that's supposed to be arid, in order to grow grass on it. As the whole state is now under a complete drought statewide and under wildfire statewide. They have too many people for the amount of water, and they've sold all of their water downstream to guarantee, and we're the source in Colorado. It's the source of the rivers. So they have heavy duty water restrictions in Colorado like you've never seen in other states, meaning that they finally, after so much pressure from people that live there used to on drought years, and they're going to go into another one.
Hey
They'll make
man, John Denver got my head all messed up.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about Rocky Mountain streams and
No, that's up in the
ponds, and I
mountains.
see that now. Like I said, you just think all of it's the same. I guess you guys think we all walk alligators on leashes down here too. So
Exactly. It's the
I get it.
this
I do.
stereotype. Denver, what it will go down to, and I'll tell you, watching this spring, because I've watched years like this where we have droughts like this. Come this spring, starting next summer, they're going to do where you can, if your address ends in between 10 and 40, you can water on Wednesdays between 10 o'clock at night and midnight. They'll start saying, well, you can, no, they will. They'll start putting the watering restrictions, and then they start tearing the water if you use it where it gets so expensive. We're not even under complete drought this year, but we will be next year. And they'll make it, they don't have enough water for the area the way that they're building up it. And the fact that, again, they plant Kentucky bluegrass everywhere, and in order to have Kentucky bluegrass, you have to have a sprinkler system. It doesn't, again, it just dies on its own. Rethink says, and you get water limits, and all the drinking water comes from big ponds around the Denver area. They always left the toilet bowls different colors. Yeah, they're writing about Colorado. Yeah, Denver is very, very arid and on the Front Range, where, again, the clouds, there's over 300 days of sunshine. But with that, you don't, it's not, there's nothing around it for miles. You can go up into the mountains, and so you have the rough living conditions of the high mountains at over, 10,000, 11,000 feet. But going east, it's dry for hundreds of miles, north, south, east. All of those directions you go, there's, again, it's very dry, very tumbleweeds, nothing out there. And running to the mountains, which people do, you have the very, very, in our mountains in Colorado, you have 9 months of winter. If you don't want 9 months of snow on the ground, you're not suited for mountain life. It's not what people think it is.
Not at all.
And so it's a scary place to be under the conditions that we're in right now in the city, because there's not, they can control the water and the electricity so easily. And there's no place to bleed, no place to the wildfires in the mountains. It's scary. They don't have the resources. They don't have water. What I call the most
I mean, I got to buy
resource.
you 50 feet behind me. I can get water when I need it if it got to that point. But yeah, that's nuts.
That's nuts. That's why, like my husband said, he's never seen me light up like I did when we looked at the property that we bought that has
I'm so glad
big
you guys
ass
found
river
that.
in the backyard.
By the way, I meant to tell you I haven't yet. Congratulations, and I'm so glad you guys arrived safe, and so happy for y'all. Hugs, hug them for me.
I will do this, and I wonder if I can send it on the phone. I have a fabulous picture of my Jaren and Zach playing in the river that maybe if I shut up a minute, I can pop it over. Who's running it? Is it Walter or Josh?
I think both of us have a little power, but I can give you some. Hang on.
Oh, I can't. I'm not hooked up to do it here. I can only send you from my phone, and you can do it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fine. I
hooked
thought
up.
you needed to share.
Okay.
That's fine.
No, because I'm talking over.
Drop it in this chat, whichever way is easiest for you.
I'll pop it in. I'll see if I can pop it into this chat from here. I don't know if I can do that, but I'll try this. But this is, let me see where I can pop it from the phone. I'm the opposite of my husband. For people that don't know, I am
actually, I
worst in
guess
tech.
Josh probably would be the better one, or I'll give John power, because I was going to show you guys some stuff today, a video of a storm and some stuff going on. And then when y'all were talking about music, there was a video I was going to do some copyright issues with, but every time I hit share, my screen starts just flipping out today. It's really hectic, my computer.
Don't give me the
I'm going to
power.
pop him into the Iron Realm show chat and let somebody take a peek if I can find it.
Somebody else, though, like I said, I went just sharing that picture of the nettle just broke my
It will corrupt me absolutely to give me the power, so don't do that. But yeah, nettles, when you become familiar with them, I highly recommend nettle tea. They can be gathered they're huge amounts of vitamin C in nettles, as far as I remember. They're very good for hay fever, good for menopause.
Yeah, I remember back when I was seriously
Lugol's iodine.
I remember it being one of the ones that was in my on my cabinet all the time that we could get here. Back then, 25 years ago, when I had 50 things I was taking. Shout out to C McG, I guess, saying that in Scotland, stinging nettles always grow next to dock leaves.
Yeah.
Which apparently are the antidote to nettles. See, nature.
You sting
balance.
yourself on the stingy nettles and you rub a dock leaf on the sting and it neutralizes it. I'm sure it's an acid alkali.
Absolutely. Look,
reaction,
Liz is all over that too, right? Well, man,
and
I bet
dock
there's
leaves are
something
very
like
good
that.
as well.
Is there something like that for poison ivies, for different ivies that you could throw on immediately to stop that
Probably
reaction?
urine, but I wouldn't want to go there, you know.
Well, then.
Well, think of it like this. Think of it if you get sap, like a cedar sap or pine sap on your skin. It's sticky and tacky, and you can't just like wipe it because it just spreads it and rubs it in. But if you like press real hard and maybe get down in there, and you just got to get it off of your skin. And that's usually what it is that makes poison ivy last so long, is because that's all it is. It's just that sap. But you have to really get it off of your skin. You can't just try to wash it away real quick or do anything. You really got to get in there and get it off.
Good carb cleaner will get
That's
out.
what I was told, Josh. That's what I was told about chiggers too. And the same with this is that you're not going to have a reaction unless you like go to sleep with it, and they get you that they're going to like wait until you go to sleep to bury in, and that's where you wake up with them all. But if you take a good hot shower, bath, and like peppermint Castile soap, and that is fabulous at removing, is what I was told. I did read up on that with the things on it, even though I didn't know what your chittles were. I did think on the poison ivy and the chiggers and the things, because again, I definitely react. What I did find, even though I didn't know this, what I did find on the grounds here, John Savage, is I found passion fruit right outside of our deck here growing wild. How exciting is that?
Ooh, that
and
sounds
it
quite
might
nice.
be ripe about the time that we're leaving, so I might have to make a nice little passion fruit thing. There's also black walnuts, all kinds of clover everywhere, all kinds of edible stuff.
What is your latitude?
My latitude is I don't know. I think, what's our latitude here? 34?
40, 30, 40?
I think it's about 34.
Right, okay.
34,
so that's
35.
That's on par with like Spain. So that, yeah. I'd be interested to know more about the fauna and flora of your
It's fabulous. It's fabulous here, John. I'm used to no growing season. In Colorado, the other thing about Colorado is because of the no humidity. When you have no humidity, the weather, the humidity holds in the temperature. So in Denver, it's not unusual to get a 60-degree temperature swing. It can go, again, it'll be 80 degrees, 75 degrees, 80 degrees outside. A front will move in and it will snow that night. Because of that, and then it will get warm again. So it blows people's minds. But because there is no growing season outside, you are supposed to consider, not even to consider planting until after Mother's Day, by the way. And even then, the first 2 weeks after Mother's Day, you still have the risk of a hard frost. And we usually have our first snow right at the beginning of September there.
You need a greenhouse.
So yeah, you would need a greenhouse in Colorado, and you just learn that you don't get much of a garden there. I mean, there's just not a lot
It's definitely not a gardening place. I mean, there's no rain. Even if it were, there's not enough rain. You'd have to water everything with fluorinated water. And to me, that's a big no-no. I don't like doing that.
Doug, did you grow up in Missouri?
No, I actually grew up in Detroit.
I think I knew that.
Hey, I was in Detroit.
Even I knew that,
last
Josh.
year.
I
love Detroit. I thought Detroit was in the TV and all that, on the movies. Detroit is some cesspool and it's horrible. And I loved Detroit. The people there were so nice. Everybody was cool. And it wasn't like I was in some ritzy part. I mean, we were on 5 Mile.
Oh yeah, I grew up close to 6 Mile. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the people were I was blown away by how welcoming everybody was, and just how, because I'm a big talker. If I'm standing in a line or something, especially if I'm not from the area, I open up a conversation, ask them, how long you been here, what is this like, what is that like, and everybody was so cool to me.
Yeah, Detroit's pretty much like a big family. Like we all stick together and everybody's pretty much on to help each other out. That's how it is pretty much in Detroit. Like I said, I've been in Missouri for a long time now, but like every year I go back and forth because most of my family's from Detroit. So I've been in Missouri since '94. My mom got remarried, relocated here in Missouri. But like I said, I mean, for the most part, born and raised in Detroit, and yeah, Midwest guy.
Yeah, but they definitely get a bad stereotype from TV and movies and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When I
St.
got
Louis
there, I
dude,
was
too,
expecting it. Yeah, oh yeah, St. Louis people were real cool to me too. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
There aren't many places I've been to where it's as bad as they say it is. I've never been to LA, never been to New York City, don't want to go to New York City, especially now. But
I want to move
I've
to
been
America.
to LA, and depending on where you go in LA, it is as bad as they say it is.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Same with New York can be too. I mean, it can be. New York is. I have to say, New York seems better now than I'm. Like if I think back to the '80s, there's a
for sure.
part in the '80s going into New York City whenever you get the honk and everything. It was very, very, very dicey going in and out. But yeah. One of the when I went into Israel, I remember being so shocked because I thought Israel would be like how they portrayed in the media. And it shocked the hell out of me on how like beautiful Israel and that it wasn't all a war zone and how friendly people were everywhere and things like that. It was things are never how they appear on media. That's for damn sure.
I'd like to go to Gaza.
I've been well, I don't know. Did I go over the Gaza Strip? I went in some areas that in Israel, I crossed over into, I definitely went over into Palestinian territories and that. And in fact, we had fun. The bus drivers almost traded me for like 95 camels, this and that. And I don't know whatever the thing was. They told me I was bringing a really good price, but they were joking. At least I hope they were.
Or were they?
Were they? I was so flattered and giggling. It was so funny. At the time, maybe I should have been scared, but I wasn't. I was surprised at. I remember one of my times in Israel that everybody was so scared I was going over there. And my parents and everybody, and I was doing it for work, and they're like, "You can't you just work, make them come to you or da da." And I was like, "No, I want to go." And I went, and they were all scared. And on my way home, the day I came home was the day that the Columbine shooting happened, and that was at the school that, like, the girl in the desk next to me, her daughter went to this Columbine, and that really affected. I knew I'd been in Columbine High School before. I dated guys from there, and when I was in high school, and it's like you guys were all worried about me in Israel, and look, it was Colorado. It was really the dangerous place to be. So go figure.
There's several places I've been, and in hindsight, I should have been scared. I should have been really cautious, but was too young and dumb to realize what was going on. But yeah.
Liz, the Iron Maiden, was meant to go to Denver when she worked for Coors years ago, but the trip was canceled. That's a shame, Liz, because Coors is not actually in Denver. It's in Golden, Colorado. And Golden, Colorado is up in the mountains and is what people expect. People.
It has to be, right? They put it on the damn
Yeah.
can. Come on, don't break everything.
Yeah, but yeah, Golden, Colorado would be the view of most people think Denver is. That's in Golden, and that's absolutely beautiful. They're up in Golden.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's a lot of places that get, like we were talking about, the media gives them bad stigmas. I remember Brandon Daly went down to Central America, and he was in like murder capital of the world there in, I think, Venezuela. Maybe. Maybe not Venezuela. I know he was in Ecuador. He was in a bunch of places down there, all over. And he said
Yeah,
the
where
people
is
were
Brandon?
amazing.
Where is
I haven't
Brandon
seen him
these
in a little
days?
while.
No, but yeah, he went into the belly of the beast, didn't he? And
He said everybody was really cool with him. Yeah.
nice as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Totally
feel like
nice as hell. Yeah, it's again, you meet people in all of the. I had a business. And I met people in every different country and every different, really ethnic, anything that you could do. I encountered over the years before the internet, and I felt myself lucky because I learned like early on, and we're just figuring it out now. People are not how they are portrayed. The Russians are not evil. That it's just the people are wonderful everywhere. The media and the way they portray it, and the government is ugly, but the people are beautiful everywhere. They really are.
yes, you hit it right on your head right there. The governments and the powers that be, they're evil, but the people, when you travel abroad, you find out very quickly that the people are beautiful people.
Beautiful people, and like again, where you would any place that you would think is even some of the most hit upon, the Egyptians, the Palestinians, that these are beautiful family people. They love their children. They're warm. They're loving. Our media is just really, really messed up.
Right.
Well, I think that's part of the whole divide and conquer thing. These people are different from you over here. You don't even want to go there. Stay on this side of your line. Don't cross that line. You'll be treated poorly. When in reality, when we cross those lines, people don't change except for the names.
Right.
You're going to find good and bad people everywhere, and most likely, almost absolutely, there's going to be a lot more good people than there will be bad people.
I agree.
All ruled by the bad people, though, because the shit rises to the top.
I like that. Shit raises to the top. I really like that.
That's a good one right there.
That's almost as actually is might even be better than expert. You guys are like, we all know about experts, don't you? Experts and X is a has been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure.
Has been spurt under pressure. Like politician. Politics.
Politics. Multi-ticks.
Multi-parasitic, blood-sucking ticks. And on that note,
I did drop into the Iron Realm chat if anybody wanted to see Zach on the river. And my son, but yeah, beautiful little shot of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have access to that?
I do. I'm downloading it as we speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know for sure.
No, it's all right.
The big giant.
I said I had other
rock.
shit I was going to share too, and I just give up tonight.
So I'll share some medical advice, and this is advice, and it's medical because I am a trained medical person. Not. But iodine, Lugol's iodine, you can make it at home for pennies. And if you do the research, you'll realize there's a reason why Japanese women rarely have anything to do with menopause or breast cancer. And it's all down to the iodine, in my humble opinion.
Yes, over 70% of the people here in the United States have an iodine deficiency. Our soils have been stripped of it, and pretty much the only place you get it here in the U.S., I'm sure there's certain parts that still have it, but from the sea kelp and stuff like that, fish. Yeah, because it should be prevalent in strawberries and green beans. There's all kinds of things that iodine would be, that it just sucks the iodine right out of the ground.
Yeah, if you've got any thyroid problems or heat and cold issues, anything along those lines, iodine will sort that out. If you've got foggy brain, if you bad sleeping, iodine again. It's it's so abundant, so cheap, so easy to make yourself. So they'll sell you, what is it, 1 ounce bottles or something of iodine for $30 or whatever. You can buy the
Oh,
raw
it's
ingredients.
ridiculously expensive. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's iodine, raw iodine flakes or whatever it is, and potassium iodide, and you can buy both of them for dirt cheap and mix your own Lugol's iodine, which is basically making iodine available in soluble form, which the guy Lugol managed to work out. You mix it with potassium iodide, and it means you can drop it in a glass of water and drink it quite happily.
That's how I did it. Every morning, a shot glass, 1 drop. I'd fill the shot glass like 4/5 of the way up, almost to the rim. 1 drop of iodine, and then I'd put my tinctures in there.
And I make Lugol's iodine, and my wife takes it every single day, and I probably make it once a year from scratch. And the £8 I spent on the ingredients 5 years ago is probably less than 5% used up at the moment. So I've got a lifetime.
It lasts forever.
Yeah, a lifetime's worth. You only need 6 drops a day.
Now, John, I need you to do me a favor, and I want you to send some of that to Alyssa Milano, because I made the mistake of reading the mainstream news. And Alyssa Milano has COVID and is complaining because it is making her hair fall out. Yes.
COVID.
Yes. Getting rid of her sex drive. And are you ready for this? It is making her vagina dry. Now, I know that I wanted to say, yo, bitch, that's not COVID, that's menopause. But if you have the iodine, maybe you should.
And nettles.
Nettles.
And
Because it's
magnesium.
like, honey, that's not the COVID, that's not the Rona, that's you're getting old, bitch. But
And how old is she?
well, she's got to be about my age, so she's got to be
Almost 50. Yeah, she's got to be.
Oh, she's
50.
younger than me. She's got to be nearing the 50s. She's not at 50 yet. She's pretty damn close. And it's like, nobody wants to know that your vagina is dry, honey. Nobody cares.
Well, if she ever hears this, then she can
take the
some
iodine.
advice. Along with that, a lot of other stuff, I imagine.
So did you guys see that picture?
Yes.
The river?
Crossing a lake, a river, yeah.
Though that big giant stone looks just like tree bark. It looks like a giant tree that fell across the river.
I didn't notice. Show it to us again.
I'll have to get some close-up pictures, but yeah, it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is a tree. Look, this is a bark of a tree that's been fossilized, calcified.
Liz, me too, by the way. I used to like her in Charmed too, but no, she's lost it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Look at that. It's like the tree bark and everything going across, and you climb. There's another picture I put in there that shows it more from the distance, where you get to see the scope of how big the river is. But
I thought that was a rock, but that's actually tree bark.
It's fossilized if it is tree. I mean, I think it's a fossilized tree. It's got all the markings of a tree bark. You look up it close, it looks like a tree.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's
Zach
awesome.
and Jaren, is it, on there?
Mm-hmm.
That's my Jaren and Zach, yeah.
That's not the river in your back garden, is it?
Yes, it is. That's my new
Holy
backyard. That is my
that's not a
new
river.
backyard.
It's not a...
Well, what is it? I mean, it is a river.
Well, I mean, when you say a river in your back garden, I'm expecting, a 10-foot wide stream. That's
No, I didn't tell you. Actually, it's called a creek. It's actually named, I think, a creek,
Yeah, I was
not
gonna
a
say,
river.
where
I
I'm from,
called it
that's
a
a
river.
creek.
It's like, that's not a creek. That's a flipping river.
You could run your house on that thing.
Yeah,
Bob was just looking at that. He was just showing me while we were on the show the generator that we could generate to 3.5, some kind of, how many watts? Kilowatts?
Hell yeah! And you could run all sorts. You could have you looked? Have you ever heard of ram pumps?
Ram pump. I
RAM.
think that's just what Bob was looking at. He was looking into them just a few minutes ago when I was on the show with me. He's like tapping me and showing me pictures, saying, "Check this out. We can rent 3.5 kilowatts for 600. Buy this little pump that's $600 or something, and run
Wow!
electricity off of it." It's making me excited. I know that when I saw the river, I lit up.
It
He
doesn't
said, "I've never
flood, does it?
seen you."
No.
No, it doesn't, because you know what? Our house is up on the hill, but what's better than that? So my backyard flows, it goes like heavily down. The other side of the riverbank more evens out. So if it floods, it's going that way.
Going that way, right? Nice.
That's awesome.
And their
I couldn't
property
find any
line is all the
historical-
way to the other side of the river.
You could
Yeah.
feed yourself. You could power yourself. you
Yes.
could- everything
Yes.
from something of that awesome power. That's a that. Yeah.
Yes.
We have streams in the UK, and you can buy any parcel of land as long as it hasn't got a stream running through it. If it's got a stream running through it, you're paying into the millions. But they literally parcel the land off so that they will even have a stream running through a parcel of land, and they will fence it either side of the stream so that you don't even have access. And when I'm talking a stream, I'm talking 2 or 3 feet wide trickle
Wow.
of a stream, not like that. Good
Our
grief.
property line goes to the other side, to the far bank on it. And
many acres is it?
we did not. Are you ready? It's not acres, because our property runs very vertical. It's just under a half acre, but it's we're on a very narrow lot.
Nice.
But it widens
Great.
up and it covers that river, and then it's forest across it. And then what's across the river is a giant strip of forest, not a giant strip, but a pretty hefty, probably a little bit over a half acre to an acre strip of forest.
And that's yours too?
And then a plain, no, that's not ours, but it's, and then power lines and then a major highway. So in other words, it's not ours, but it's nobody's. In other words,
Yeah,
it's not
nobody's going to
sellable.
build there.
You
But
can't, you can't.
Do you own half that river, or
The river I
their
own,
property goes all the
my
way to the
property
other
goes all the
side.
way to the other side of it. So the strip that we own, we own
Wow.
all the way to the other side of it. It's all
Wow.
entirely on there. And there was no, in Colorado, you couldn't get a river like that size on it, by the way. It just wouldn't be available. But there was no surcharge on it here. It was almost
Wow.
like this, it didn't even come up with there was no, it was no difference, like as far as the property, if I had a half acre and back that was just nothing, or having the river. It didn't have a difference on the property values here, and it did in my heart. It really did in my heart. Coming from a
That's-
place with no water, this place I lit up.
Hell yeah. That's unheard of over here to have access.
Yeah,
to
that's
something like
beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
my
you
husband
could
says he's
submerge-
never seen me light up like that.
You could submerge turbines in that.
And you
sort
see
of
that
thing. It
stream
wouldn't
that
even
you
be
guys
heard.
were showing there? I grew up in a little place in Mississippi that had like land that had those size streams going all around through it. We had like little places that had like maybe 3-foot falls of rocks that would make, we called it Little Rocky Falls. And then there was a bigger one that was on the other side of another pasture that was bigger falls. And so I'm trying to find shots of those areas overhead. The closest thing I found was the water park nearby that I'll send a shot to Josh in a second. But yeah, man, that made me feel like home when I saw that crossing, and that, like you say, almost petrified log, wood, whatever thing.
The more I see, the more I want to move to America.
Yes.
Probably the devil's belly button at the moment, but
Right.
the more I want
I
to
like that
go.
analogy.
I mean, in the UK, we're just so gelded, we're so crippled by everything, space, land, people, politics. I know it's just as bad over there, but yeah. Does anyone know what
Pockets. There's pockets of it here, though, because I'm telling you, like in Denver, the property values are over 3 times or 4 times the value of, if you were to, I mean, it's so much more expensive in Denver than here.
Yeah, screw Denver.
Right, or New York or that. So I'm saying you can get pockets
Yeah,
of reasonable.
There's different places in the country you can move to that just has an abundance of land for really cheap.
Mm.
And beautiful land.
Is that
Yeah,
your
like
land there,
situations
Josh?
like that where you have running water and
Wow.
you know,
And that was cheap too. I mean, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm not sniffing at the price it was up for, but it's not millions like it would be in the UK.
Or in
Yeah, it would
Denver.
have been. Yeah, it would have been a lot more in Denver. It would have been.
It would have been well over
triple
$1
the
million
price.
property. That would have
Yeah.
been over $1 million property in Denver.
I'm not even sure it would be up for sale in the UK. It's that, you know, sacred to have running water through your land is just not done here.
Not in Denver either. It's a new thing for me, Jen. A totally new thing for me, but I liked it. It felt right.
This is part of my family's property. This is pretty much where I grew
Josh
up.
is also in an
on this
incredibly
river.
beautiful part.
This is the Gasconade River right here.
Wow.
Where is that? What state's that?
That's in Missouri. That's
This is Missouri. It's beautiful.
where this is. It's in the center of Missouri, pretty much.
And that's your mum and dad's place?
My dad's, yeah. It's where he grew up as a kid. And then he moved back when he was older.
Is still in the family, or?
Yeah, he still lives there. He and his wife and my sister and her husband and 4 kids run the bed and breakfast that they started.
Nice.
So he went and, well, I'll even scan through some of these pictures. I think it'll show.
That's what I call a retirement plan.
Yeah, some nice river shots. There's some cabins here. Now it's working. See, he takes these older cabins and he relocates them onto his property. And because it's so hilly in the Ozarks, he just sets up a gravity-fed water well, essentially an above-ground well uphill, and it just feeds water down into the cabin, so they can essentially have running water. And he's got some solar panels and some LEDs, and he can run some minimal electricity there. But for the most part, it's all wood-burning,
Like camping.
rustic, 1880s style camping.
So, Josh, are you selling any of these plots to dodgy Englishmen who want to escape persecution and dodgy religion?
Here, this is the view I pretty much grew up with. I'd wake up in the morning, and this is basically what I would see. It's a low-res image. It looks like garbage, but you can basically see some of the Ozark Hills
So beautiful.
and the
That's
river
beautiful.
bend.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I grew up a river rat.
Well, like I say, I grew up in Michigan, and the land up there is beautiful. And my grandfather had a cabin up in northern Michigan. And when I was younger, you could see the northern lights, and the wildlife was just beautiful out there. I mean, seeing like everything from grizzly bears to moose and wolverines and everything. So it was beautiful.
If their winters weren't so bad, I would live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for sure. That's one of my favorite places on earth.
Yeah.
So when you get a second, share that video, Josh, that I just sent. Oh, wait, you're on a search. Just search for Merritt, M-E-R-I-T, Creek, or you can play the video. That's fine.
And Walt, check this out. I know you had a thing with wolves.
Yes, sir.
My first dog growing up, my grandfather made it our German Shepherd with the wolf up north, and he gave our whole family, everybody in the family got a German Shepherd mixed with a wolf.
That's awesome.
That is amazing, dude. I would I'm so jealous. I would love to have that. So yeah, this water here is really
not
high.
natural, right?
Like
That's not supposed to
normally
be
right here where this
natural.
filming is done, there's a lot more waterfall. And you see that cut that's made there? I have no clue. It's been there since I was a 5-year-old kid. Nobody knows. I never knew. It was just part of that place, that cut trough thing you showed at the beginning. Anybody have that?
Nature did not do that.
You
Rewind
can
that,
see
Josh,
tool marking
at
on
the
it.
beginning.
Yeah, I thought I saw letters at one point.
Well, yeah, that was
on one of
people
the rocks.
carving their names along the side, but that trench that's cut that way and the other rocks fitting into it like that, no clue.
Look at that's a
It
perfect
has
square.
nothing to do with
Perfect
Yeah,
square.
perfect symmetry right there.
It has nothing to do with water overflow. It's the water's super high, in fact, right now. And as you see, it doesn't like trough the water off anywhere or anything like that. It's just always been that way since I was a kid, that place.
Wow.
Wow.
I wonder if that's
Come on,
part of like some
people.
elaborate
I'm
irrigation
sure
system.
it must be some ancient shit that we didn't know. You know, I mean, it's just always been there. Kind of one of those things you take for granted, I guess. But yeah,
It's
there's another
clearly
video
alien.
I found that
Well-
had the water more down, and you can see the falls. I'll see if I can find it.
Clearly alien.
And that's in Louisiana?
No, that's Mississippi. That's a place called Merritt Creek in Simpson County, Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi, Alabama both have some really beautiful country down there.
Yeah.
Man-made for sure. But my mate says it's caused by ropes pulling the boats against the current. And I can believe that.
That's beautiful.
He says, "What's ropes?
Oh,
Pulling
wait,
a
I
boat.
found it. I found it. Hang on, here we go.
Those markings?"
Yeah, he's saying caused by ropes pulling up boats against the current.
Well, which way is the current going from to make these 90-degree turns?
Yeah, I don't know if rope's going to cut through.
I can see when it's
Stone
going
like that.
perpendicular to the current and you're standing on the bank pulling it towards you. But why is it going downstream as well?
Yeah, Rich. I mean, they're clearly man-made, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
And
clearly not natural.
aliens did.
Right. Clearly not natural.
Only aliens could do that, surely.
Yeah, but look at that symmetry though. That's like perfect.
It is. Wow. So many places out there I bet there's so many places with all this kind of stuff everywhere. Like state parks, I think
For sure.
were turned into state parks to hide stuff. They keep you on certain trails, but I bet if you go walking off trails and looking at stuff, you're going to find more stuff of ancient civilizations back in there.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good way to hide stuff. Just turn it into a nature preserve and then make the trails in places where you don't see any of this stuff.
There's a fair bit of evidence for machined tooling or whatever on megalithic sites, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, perfect holes drilled through 8 feet of solid granite and stuff like that. So, yeah, ain't no man did that with no chisel or drill or something like that. That was a machine that did that.
No, it was with a deer antler. Over billions and billions of years. One generation after the next said, "Oh, look, I started this hole now. Take over my deer antler and pound it for the next 70 years." And
See, it's probably only like 10 or 12 generations.
Yeah.
Give or
Let's
take.
not over exaggerate. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, if you don't mind, just play a few seconds, kind of fast forward through that other video because it's kind of lengthy. The guy's narrating it. He went there and it's kind of his thing. I also dropped a little fair use copyright thing I found on my computer. I knew I had one somewhere.
Gotcha.
If you want to pop that on the screen just to CYA.
All right, let me go ahead and.
So did Zach try to
Because the actual falls
slip?
at that place are actually pretty cool for a little tiny place in Mississippi. I mean, it's not anything like what you guys have really in Denver with your amazing water. Oh, wait, never mind. Because again, you have waterfalls in Denver, right? Of course you do.
Not at all.
I know. I'm just blown away still, Kim. Broke my brain. Still.
Fair use disclaimer.
Hold on, it's
I'll
not
tell
even.
you, Minnesota has some great areas too.
Oh, yeah. Northern
Minnesota's
Minnesota, we used to
beautiful.
go fishing up there once a year. And we'd go out in the boundary waters where there's no motorboats allowed. And we'd go like 4 or 5 miles upriver and camp where you don't see another soul for days.
Right.
Yeah, if their winters weren't so bad, I
Right.
would
Another
live there
another
too.
place like that. Yeah, if the winters
Yep.
weren't so bad there, it's beautiful. I went there in the springtime and man, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, we would go around the solstice every year because it would be,
Nice.
11 o'clock at night when the sun would be finally not lighting up the sky. And then like
Right.
3:30, 4 a.m., there's the sun again. It was crazy. There's only like 4 hours of darkness.
Yeah, they were telling me that when I was up there. They said they have parts of the year where, it stays dark for a long time and then it stays light for a long time. Sort of like Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. But those damn loons. Every river, every lake has a loon, and as soon as that light comes up, they start going crazy. And that's a hard bird to sleep through.
Right.
One of my favorite things to fall asleep to, Zach.
Right?
No joke. Especially
Are
when
you
they're
serious?
when they're on the water, because
oh, man, they're amazing. I find them soothing as well, Josh.
a loon is one of the only birds that have solid bones. So they have to have a really long, big, wide space to take off. So when they're on the water, you can just hear their wings beating on the water for a long time. Flap, 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 just smacking the water because they need so much space to actually take off and take flight because they're so heavy of a bird.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, they had some on Cross Lake up in Shreveport where I was at as a teenager, and I would hear them all the time when I would sleep at a buddy's house over there to have a place right on the lake. It was amazing.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I came back from
Josh,
Canada.
They're clearly dinosaurs.
Clearly. Or will be dinosaurs. You can't be sure which direction they're going. Maybe they
when are
used to have
dinosaurs going to come back? When are we going to evolve into dinosaurs again?
Haven't you seen Super Mario Brothers movie with Dennis Hopper? I think we know what's going on.
Wow, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I used to go there almost every weekend as a kid. Love that place. And then we had places about half that size on my uncle's land that we stayed in almost every day of the summer. We were waterlogged all the time, always bringing home driftwood, crazy, amazing pieces of driftwood.
Imagine
Still have
how
a
much.
few of them floating around.
Imagine how easy it is to get grounded in that stream.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely spectacular. Now that makes our river look like a little creek, I guess, but I still kind of like ours. Oh, look at that. That's a tree. That is a tree.
I was thinking it too, man, when I saw the little sections earlier, the little diagonal or the little like sail-looking segments. Yep. Water flowing to a tree that fell down.
Nice.
Coincidentally, there used to be a piece of wood, like a big, long piece of wood that stuck up in the middle of the fall where you could go if you were tough enough and grab it because the water was a lot stronger back then. It flowed a lot heavier. Because this area used to be completely underwater and that fall was just rushing. People get sucked under and be panicked for a few minutes. You could set a 6-pack of beer in that little circle and it'd get real cold.
What are we looking at?
Or watermelon or whatever.
Cool. Look at the curve of the earth there.
Right? You saw it. It's real. Debunk flat Earth on this accidental day.
Well,
right.
But yeah, all those little
believe it.
segments, I was looking at that thinking, man, that just doesn't look normal. That looks very cellular.
Go see how many students have launched a balloon to the edge of space and shown us the edge of the Earth and shown us the curve. Every one of those starts off looking like this.
Right.
It curves right from the ground.
Yeah, that curve you see at 100,000 feet's the same curve you saw at 10 feet.
Doesn't change.
Did you see the article in the mirror.co.uk?
No. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Which article?
Guy proves flat earth, mirror.co.uk. I briefly saw it on Jeranism's Lounge earlier, and they were in awe. Well, Iru especially was just like, no, that's a joke. No, it's a joke. It can't be real. It can't be real. And it's being from England, it is real. The Mirror is one of the biggest mainstream red top crappy papers over here. It's not like the Onion and it's not like the Spectator or whatever. It is purporting to be real. So if anyone can find that article, guy proves debunks the flat Earth.
Well, which is it, John? That's a big difference.
Debunks flat Earth or proves ball Earth or whatever. I can't remember the title of it, but I know he stuck a fisheye lens on a selfie stick, stuck it above his head, and they were trying to pull it off as this is undeniable proof of a ball Earth. I don't know. Do you want me to go find it?
I'm looking right now. Sort
of. Have a look at Jaren's Friday Night Lounge just finished. It might be in the show notes or the description of that, but yeah, unfortunately the Mirror is one of our papers over here that purports to be not fake news.
Yeah, we run stories through it, or see stories run through from them occasionally, but I don't know. I can't think of one offhand recently.
I'm waiting for Zach to try to sneak Thrift Shop into the videos you're playing.
Oh, I love that song. I haven't listened to it today. I might have to listen to it.
I haven't heard it today. That is
It's so funny. Yeah, I get into grooves where it's like research for months straight, and then experimentation for months straight. And then there's a couple months there I watch funny videos and First Amendment audits and all that kind of stuff, you know? And I'm in that phase right now. So yeah, once I found that Macklemore thrift shop, you got to check that out if you all haven't seen it. I was dying.
I made him watch it. He didn't want to. He's glad he did.
I gotta find it and check it out now.
Oh, it's so fun.
I can't believe you guys. I mean, I'm the old lady in the group. I can't believe that none of you guys had seen that. And I don't know why I was so hooked on it years ago, but it's hysterical. One of my favorite vids.
Yeah,
I
I'll
have
drop
many.
it in chat, Doug. I'll drop it in chat for you.
You been doing some Radiohead karaoke there, Josh? Just checking.
Do what? What I do?
I saw on the screen some Radiohead karaoke on the deal there. I just wondered if you was kicking up some Radiohead you were going to kick out on us.
Oh, here. Didn't realize
I
it
believe that
stopped
was
playing.
Travis in the IRM.
I know.
Yeah.
Shout out. We need the truck horn. He's mad at me because I can't sing Led Zeppelin anymore. I haven't done that kind of stuff in so long. I'm going to make it work, though. It's got to work. I'll keep practicing. There it is.
Son of a bitch. Nope, that's still the train horn.
Oh, is that the train? It did sound trainish, but I wasn't going to say anything.
See, that's the problem. Every time I reset my computer, it always reloads the last sounds that I saved. But I don't always save the sounds. So sometimes they're different than what I remember.
Well, look, I'm leaving for a minute because someone was nice enough to bring me hot food all of a sudden. So while it's hot, I'm going to go enjoy it. It shouldn't be long, and I'll be back if you guys don't have to quit just because I'm
Thanks,
going
Michelle.
for a minute.
Well, actually, I think we may just go ahead and wrap it up.
She's grinning.
I still got a few errands I'm going to need to run. I got to go see a man about some flowers.
Oh, well, then I guess I did shut it down by accident. I really wasn't trying to.
Sounds like you're getting out.
All right, so,
of it,
so
I
that,
better-
what's the deal, Doug? As you say,
How
about
are you guys leaving before John? This is crazy.
right? This is a
unheard of.
rare, unheard of event. Doug, you are here for a momentous occasion.
It's because my laptop is set to UTC, which
That's
tells me that it's only 1:15 in the
So he's
morning
all
when it's
confused.
actually 2:15.
So I was gonna say it's way
Man,
past
almost.
John's bedtime. I don't know what you're talking about. John should have
Yep.
bowed out like
Yeah,
45
it's,
minutes
it's
ago.
John 30 at least.
I should have gone at least an hour
It's
ago.
30
I
at
should have-
least, right?
I'm pretty sure I said, and on that note, about
You
an
did,
hour
but you
ago.
somehow
Did.
clung
Yeah, he did. He did
tenaciously
say on that
to
note.
the program.
Uh-huh.
All right,
You
Doug,
see,
as you
see
see,
how screwed up you can get by just setting your
It's-
clock to UTC rather than GMT. Anyway,
it's
on
as
that
laid
note,
back here as it gets, Doug. Please come hang out with us again, sir.
Yeah,
you are
dude.
welcome.
Oh, I will
Always
for sure,
welcome.
man. I appreciate you guys for having me.
It was
This
a
was
blast, man. Thanks. I
And
felt
come
it.
hang out on a
anytime.
Wednesday if you
Love
want.
you a lot. Appreciate it a lot. The trust to come hang out with us, man. Thank you. Love you. Appreciate it.
Doug,
Appreciate it. Love you
appreciate
too,
it.
man.
Thanks for being here. Nice to have some new blood, and yeah, great conversation. And I'll see you guys when I see you. Take it easy.
Sounds good, John. Have a
Same
great
to you, John.
weekend.
Cheers to chat.
Everybody in chat, thank you all. Love you all. Saw you all. Tried to type as many as I could. Saw Baldini. We have a little awesome story there at the last few seconds.
How did I miss Baldini being in there? Oh, because I had like 15 different screens up, none of which
Yeah,
were
I'm trying to
chat.
get back to it and see what he wrote. He was in the store apparently the other day, and an older gentleman saw him without a mask and literally broke out in tears in joy at the site. So that's awesome. Shout out. There was something else in chat earlier that I wanted to bring up, and it's completely gone now. I think I made a note. Let me see if I did.
Hey, Doug, you working
Oh,
tomorrow?
yeah. Scuba Dracula said there's going to be a rally the 29th in Ottawa, Ontario. Scuba Dracula said August 29th, huge rally, Parliament Hill, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Pass it on, get there, make it big, make it happen.
Zach, Oktoberfest, Novemberfest, whatever the hell.
Absolutely.
October 24th, Greenville, South Carolina. We're having Flat-toberfest again. This is the second year it'll be running, and Cammie and I are actually, we're not going up on stage, thank God. They got enough people to cover that, but we have a little, we're gonna have a booth.
Y'all were so fucking amazing at the conference. I'm just
We're
saying.
going to work one-on-one with people where we are like really happy and like where you get to interact. I'm going to bring some aeroscopes and some lights and water.
Yeah, I
and
have the
Zach's bringing
Van de Graaff generator,
and
Tesla coils.
Tesla coils.
all
We're
that
going to let
kind of
people touch things. We like interacting better.
I'm gonna let little children shock me with the Van de Graaff generator. I think they'll get a kick out of that.
They will enjoy that immensely. Yes, sir.
I want to play. I want to
Oh
shock
my.
you. All right, well, then I guess
Zach-
we're going to get the hell out of here. Might as well.
Our orb weaver is hanging out right here.
Oh, I got to clear them away again.
Oh my.
Shout out
he's-
to Rob Freddie, who snuck away when I wasn't paying attention or when I went and grabbed some coffee. Love you, brother. Come hang out more often.
He needs to find a new home. Okay.
He's got to be tired of clinging by his toes. He's swinging upside down by now. All that
Zach,
time
Can we
traveling.
turn the light on?
Nice spider.
Wow. Thanks for that at the end of the night, Zach.
That is hanging right from where I walk out the door to smoke.
Thanks
Wow.
for doing that to me to have nightmares. All right, I'm out of here on that one.
Whoa, yeah, Zach, he's got to live somewhere else but the door right there, buddy. Here's a squatter.
Relocate
welcome
with
him to a new
squatter, is that
home.
how you do it?
Woo!
Ooh, that was
Oh,
a
he's
little
fast.
hard. Sorry.
He's real fast. Oh my God, he's a fast one.
Haven't you seen the Spider-Man movie? Don't you know that's part of it?
That's right. Those are the Spidey
so
senses.
fast, it's almost like
It's like precognition.
precog. It's Spidey sense.
All right, then, Doug. I will see you on Monday, sir.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you
Anytime.
again, man.
Really.
Yeah, that was awesome, Doug.
We meet on
Thanks so
Wednesdays
much.
too to talk about Fridays. Again, you're more than if you get at home and
He's
just
on.
pop on.
Surely,
They're usually hanging out
surely.
before I am too. Just use this link and somebody will let you in and come hang out. Nope, not a big deal.
For sure.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Cam, it was awesome having you back in the mix too.
Oh, I can't thank you. It was so nice to be here. I can't wait to, again, I'm getting my feet dirty here, my hands dirty here. I met with Watson, and
Well,
he
your
even
whole
gave me
world
a
just got turned upside down, literally. So I understand
Yeah.
a few things going on your plate.
We have a few things going on the plate, but on the other hand, like a lot of the like different things that we're pulling or things that almost seem meant to be. There's a technical artist here. He also does tattoo work and other things, but he's like one of the finest technical artists I've met, Watson. And he's going to draw out a lot of the technical aspects of what I'm trying to discuss and explain on the mapping. And I am so happy. I mean, I met with him. He's going to work with me, and we can like kind of progress further. It'd be a lot easier for me to explain what I was talking about if you had something better than my kindergarten level artwork.
Your stuff was awesome. We just, like you said, needed a way to present it so everybody could just get that aha moment.
The aha moment. I'm working on getting some artwork together, which again doesn't exist because it's original work, and so I can't go out and get it from anybody. But I have found an artist that is willing to draw it for me, and I'm very grateful. So things are, as we close on the house on the 1st, things are moving quickly. We're out here now. We're no longer in Colorado. We're in North Carolina, soon to be South Carolina in another 10 days. Get moved into the house, and then I'm going full speeding ahead with the mapping and things I'm working on, and in ways to support Bob from going full speed ahead in Globebusters. If people don't know, part of the reason for our move was to also enable us to be in a position where we could put more time into Flat Earth and not be so strapped. We've gone through pretty much all of our savings in Colorado, and needed to, again, find a way to reset and keep our focuses where we want them to be, to things that are important to life. And material things, like I said, you can't take you don't see a U-Haul on the way hooked onto the hearse at a funeral. You can't take it with you. It's not what's important in life. If I've learned anything, it's that.
Damn right.
So we're blessed. I mean, in doing that, the universe opened up, and what did it do? It took away a house with all kinds of glass to shine and mirrors to shine and pretty baubles, and instead it gave me something I like even better, a river, and a secure home. I'm not, I feel so blessed. I feel like I'm supposedly sacrificing, and in my sacrifice, I'm gaining things I love so much more than what I had. It's not a sacrifice. It's really remarkable. I wish everybody to be as blessed as I feel like I am. There's what?
Critters everywhere.
Oh, you guys all hear Bob? He's got his portable sun on, which is, and if you put a portable sun on inside in Carolina, he's finding little critters on the ceiling and other places. They're coming to the sun. He's like, holy moly, they're everywhere. Take that vitamin B.
All right, all. Love you. Take care. We'll see you next Friday if we don't see you before then.
No, you won't.
Oh, no, we won't.
Because next Friday, I'll be out of town. So
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be having a show next Friday. It's been a while since we've had a day off. It won't hurt anybody. It probably won't hurt anybody. If it does, shoot us a message and I'll apologize profusely. Otherwise, we'll see you Friday after next. Unless, of course, you're willing to tune in to Have No Sphere next Tuesday, where we will be. Check us out at truthfrequencyradio.com, tfrlive.com. That's where we'll be. Otherwise, it's been another excellent, excellent Friday. Go ahead, Kimmy. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, and it happens to be in 2 weeks' time. I will be in my new home.
Well, perfect timing then.
Isn't that perfect timing? Absolutely perfect.
Surely is. All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, we love you all. Wish you the best Friday possible. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you. Be good. Be well. Bye-bye. Whoa.